So for those of you who want to start a business, you might be an aspiring entrepreneur, you might be a new entrepreneur, you might be a veteran entrepreneur, but things just ain't working how you want them to work. I'm here to answer the question on what to build. Okay, so when you think about it, you decide, I want to start a business. You might work a corporate job, you might have a 9 to 5, you might have the golden handcuffs, and you're like, hey, you know what? I think I want to go out on my own. I got some ideas, or I've learned a lot in this industry that I'm in, and I think I can solve some problems over here where I'm the boss. Then, some of you might not even have gotten this far yet mentally, which is okay. But some of you are at the point where you're like, but what am I actually building? Like, I know I'm building a business, but what am I doing? Like, what am I putting over here? What am I putting on the internet? What different pieces and parts do I need to have a business? Okay. And this is an important question, and I'm going to answer it for you. There are many ways to get from Los Angeles to Cleveland, Ohio, right? There's many ways. Think about a road trip. You can go different route, the southern route, the northern route. There's even other routes. You might want to go sightseeing. And there's always trade-offs for each one. There's pros and cons for each route. I've done it plenty of times, driven cross country both ways. And I've probably done all the most popular routes, and they're all different, okay? So what I'm going to share with you is what we teach at the Giant Maker, okay? And the reason I think it works is because it works for us, and it's worked for people that we've shared this with. This is kind of why we're going public with this information, because we see that tons and tons of entrepreneurs are just making it way more difficult. And a lot of it becomes, what path do I follow? You have all the gurus who are kind of sharing information with you. And that doesn't mean that the gurus don't have good information. It's just, I just feel like their incentives are a little warped. And we are a true education company. At the Giant Maker, we are basically an entrepreneur launch accelerator or launch platform. So that'll be more clear in this video, but have a ton of visuals for you. Everything we teach is basically a framework. And the reason frameworks are amazing is because they're repeatable. So we're going to answer the question of what to build. And there's different things I'm going to show you, and they're all going to kind of point back to that question. And I think by the end of this video, this long video, okay, that you're going to watch because you are investing in yourself. But by the end of this video, you will have clarity, and you'll be able to see what you're actually supposed to build. Now, you're going to have more questions. Of course, you're going to have more questions. There's this concept of clarity from action versus clarity from thought. And a lot of you, if you're like me, you like to think things through, and it has to make sense in your mind. And that really, it only gets you so far. And then you have to get off the bench and actually get on the court and play. And then it gets more clear as you move into action. So that's kind of like our philosophy. Is like, you kind of have to get on the court and actually shoot the ball and say, oh, okay, now I see how that feels. Okay, my thought that I was thinking, my assumption is not really accurate. Okay, so that is kind of like a big part of us, is like, we at the Giant Maker, or everything we teach, it's based off action. You have to kind of do things in order for it to make sense. So without droning on and going off on all these tangents, which I'm prone to do, and I will do in this video, we're going to get into what to build. Let me get, I have a number of screens and things I want to show you. So let's go to the iPad first. Now, the best way to think of this is me and you are at a coffee shop, and we're just having an informal conversation. It's very loose. Okay, it's loosey-goosey. So I'm just talking to you, okay? And we're just friends, and I'm sharing some knowledge with you. So this is going to be super informal. Some of my graphics might be a little janky, but it's okay, because there's a principle called the skateboard model that you're going to learn that we believe in, and it'll make more sense by the end of this video. Okay, so The question is what to build. Okay, so this is not going to make a lot of sense to you. I'm showing you this because we're going to go through a series of other visuals that's going to make this all make sense. But this is really kind of what a business, a modern day business who wants to compete in this digital noisy world where other people can start businesses. So think about that. Other people can enter into the market very easily now. Okay. This is kind of the modern we call it a digital marketing system. Okay. So this is the thing you're building. All right. And this is kind of like there's technology involved, like software, there's automations, there's AI, there's also like your own philosophy as a business, as an entrepreneur. I mean, there's a ton of things that are tangible and intangible that go into this. We're going to cover all of it. Okay. So just be clear. And there's different versions of this depending on the type of business you are or how you want to start or what phase you're in. There's very even scaled down versions of this that, I mean, people are running and they're making millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? I'm not saying that that's always the goal because, you know, sometimes there's serendipity. Sometimes people have certain things that other people don't have. There's certain opportunities. But at the end of the day, you're trying to build something that is a system. That's why we call it a digital marketing system that does a lot of the effort for you once you build it. And then all you're trying to do is get people into your digital marketing system. Okay. So you've heard words like funnels and things like that. This is more of just like a high level overview of all of the individual pieces and parts. Obviously, some of these, like for example, some of these are actually, can I zoom in? Oh, there we go. Some of these are actually like, I'm going to explain them deeper. Okay. Like what the lead magnet is and this whole system. Okay. So just know that I'm going to kind of share some of this. I'm going to go deeper and zoom in on some of these things, but just want to give you an idea. We're going to come back to this, but just want to give you an idea of kind of what we're talking about when I say what to build, okay? I'm literally talking about the things that you're going to build that's going to convert leads or fans or audience into paying customers, paying clients, and things like that, okay? So we're literally talking about start a business and making money. So let's start with the actual entrepreneur's roadmap. Okay. So this is that whole analogy of like, where are you and where are you trying to go? Let's level set everyone and just say, this is the roadmap that we think is a great way to become successful. Okay. And one of the things about starting a business that I think most entrepreneurs miss out on is mindset. And the reason that they miss out on mindset is because there's a group of internet gurus that make everything business about, every single part of business is about mindset. And there's no nuance. So people throw out the baby with the bathwater. They just want to get and start making money. And you are the vessel in which your business is built. The success of your business is based off you as an individual, right? So if you kind of suck as an entrepreneur and you have a horrible mindset towards actually what it means to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have a harder time in business because your brain, I'm talking about you as the person, your brain is not there. Okay. So we're going to go through this really quick. There are 7 phases. Excuse me. Let me zoom out a little bit because this is actually jacking me up. I need it to be easy for you guys to see. Okay, let's keep it large. All right, so there are 7 phases. I'm going to kind of go through this super quick. This is on our website, thegiantmaker.com. If you go up to learn and you go to Entrepreneur's Roadmap, you get to it, or you can go to frameworks. Okay, you go to the frameworks and you can go to Entrepreneur's Roadmap, and it's available. It's not behind any paywall or anything. And the point of this is, it's important for us as entrepreneurs to orient ourselves. Okay, so like I said, if I am trying to get to a destination, I got to know where I'm going. So I got to know what the destination is, but I also got to know what my current position is, so I know what to work on. So what we've done is we've come up with 7 phases, okay? And for each phase, there is a personal kind of a dimension to it and a business dimension, which is like, what am I working on as the entrepreneur, and what am I working on in my business? Like this other entity, right? We think about like business formation. It's literally another entity. It's a legal entity, a LLC, a S corp, or something that you're creating, right? So it's important to realize that you're not the business. You're building another thing that you can leverage, and this is your tool to generate wealth and whatever else you're trying to do in your life, your purpose, your whatever your goals are, right? So it's important to realize that that's the first thing. It's like, I'm the entrepreneur and there's a business. So the first thing is orientation and intent. And what I mean by orientation is orienting yourself and knowing where you are and where you're going. Okay. So phase 1 is choosing a path and opening your eyes to real opportunities. Okay. Personally, you decide to pursue entrepreneurship and accept that clarity comes from action. Remember we said that? In the business track, which is this other kind of dimension, you begin scanning markets to recognize problems people already want solved. This is very important because I am trying to teach, or we at the Giant Maker, are trying to teach little itty bitty things that change, like that allow you to be more successful in a drastic way. And what I mean by that is little things like this. You begin scanning markets to recognize problems people already want solved. Okay? Some people say, I have this business idea. And they're taking a shower and they have a shower thought and they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this. That sounds fun. It's like, okay, you're basing your business ideas off things that you think are fun or directions you want to go. Well, what if there's no market for it? What if people don't care about that? You're going to spend so much time discovering that later, and you're going to build all this stuff, and then people are not going to want it. And trust me, I've done it before. I'm speaking from experience, okay? So quick little shift, and this is why this is important. Get that out of your mind, okay? You want to find problems that people already want solved so that you already have a market you could tap into. This is how people launch businesses in 30 days, make money in like 30 days after they start their business. It's because literally there's like a market waiting for their solution to their problem, okay? The other part of this is just deciding that you want to be an entrepreneur. That sounds dumb, but really is. It's like you have to kind of step into this thing and say, I am now an entrepreneur and this is my identity. Because you can't, it's really hard to do things when you're half committed, okay? So commit to entrepreneurship and take responsibility for results, all right? Be curious, open, and willing to learn by doing. Understand what the journey demands of your time, habits, and energy. So you're basically just getting yourself, this is literally you're orienting yourself to this world of entrepreneurship, and you're doing it the right way. Recognize a credible problem market signal. So that is literally like, is there anybody raising their hand basically saying, I have a problem, I want somebody to solve it? That's really what you're looking for, right? Have an explorer mindset. So listen first, build later. This is the whole concept of starting a business and then going out and being like, does anybody want what I have? No, listen first and then build what people want. Okay. And again, obviously some of you guys are like, well, that's not my passion. Then you're going down a different path that I really can't help you with. It's a blessing when your passion is actually connected to something that people want. So I'm not sitting here saying that you can't do things that are connected to what you're good at or what your passion is. You can find problems in the market that's connected to what you like to do or what you like, but it may not be exactly your business idea, is what I'm saying. Like the thing that you offer to people might not be exactly the thing that you thought it was going to be, is my point. But it's really hard to help people with their passions that aren't connected to problems. It's too competitive out here. It's too noisy. People people's attention spans are too stretched out, and it's you have to solve people's pains. Okay, and pains are subjective. So somebody's pain might be stupid to somebody else, but it's a pain for this group of people. Okay, so collect complaints, searches. So if people searching the internet, searching YouTube, searching Google, searching in general for solutions, and buying behavior that point to demand. Okay, now if you want to go deeper, you're going to go to the giantmaker.com and you're going to go to the Entrepreneur's Roadmap, and there's even more information. Now, there's one thing I do want to show you about this. So each we're going to go through all 7. I'm just not going to go through all of this. I'm going to let you go through this yourself, except I want to talk about the 5 lenses of total awareness. Okay, then we're going to go through the rest of these, and I'm going to show you that this is your first milestone, is your 90-day goal. Okay, so let's go through. So we're at step 1. So some of you guys might feel like you're not at step 1. Just go through and read all this and just check the boxes and be like, yep, check, yep, check, yep, check. Oh, I need to learn this. Okay, let me learn it. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, cool. And just try to make it be a part of the way you think, if you accept it or not. So stage 1, phase 1 is you as the entrepreneur. Okay, so this is really about making sure that the vessel, you, the human being, the mind, the way you think, because you're going to go out into this world, you're going to have to compete, you have to make decisions. Just want to make sure you're there. Make sure your mind is right. Okay, doesn't have to be this long thing. This could be something you could do in a day and be like, yes, I'm good. I'm going this way and I want to go this way and I'm excited and I'm identifying as an entrepreneur. But this right here, total awareness, learning this is important. And even myself, I got to be reminded of this, okay? This is like a lifelong thing, but you will get better at it, okay? So this is something we came up with. It's called total awareness. Now, we pulled all these different things together to create our own kind of like entrepreneur, the way you see the world, okay? So there's 5 lenses of awareness, and there's a hierarchy to these, okay? So you want to start with self-awareness, okay? So these are your strengths, your gaps, your biases, or your biases, right? Your risk tolerance. Like, you need to know who you are, right? You need to know when you go into the arena, you need to know what you can and can't do, what you have to work on, what you're really good at, all that stuff, right? Because I'm going to tell you, when things are happening in real time, you will make bad decisions because you keep getting in your own way. Okay? And I've worked with people, I've worked with all types of clients, worked with tons of entrepreneurs, coaching and consulting entrepreneurs, and it's just like, man, I hate to say it, but you're the problem. It's you. You're the issue here. So, we have to be self-aware because this is how we see the world. So this is the foundational lens, okay? So just think about what you're good at. Think about, there's something called the circle of competence. I'm actually going to draw, this is like the first impromptu thing. I knew it was going to happen. Let me go to, really quick, the iPad, and let me just draw this. This is something that Warren Buffett teaches, but it's really important. So, well, he doesn't really teach it. He says it. Circle of competence, right? I even do like another circle, and let's go ahead and like kind of like highlight in this area right here. We're gonna highlight in this area, okay? So this is like what you know, okay? So this middle section is what you know. It's what you're good at. It's what you understand. It's what you're competent in, okay? And it's important to know the line, okay? Most people don't know the line and they go into incompetence. This isn't about being stupid or anything like that. It's not, this has nothing to do with insulting yourself or insulting other people. When you say, hey man, you're incompetent in this area, it's just, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know enough information. You don't have enough experience, enough wisdom. You're not able to pull things together enough to be competent or credible or have any authority in this area. So it's important for us as entrepreneurs to know what we're competent in, okay? And it's okay. We got to let ego go, okay? Once we start getting to this area, this edge, right, This is where we want help from other people. Okay, so you're watching a video. I'm helping you get competent maybe in something. You might want to join. We have an accelerator program. I'll get more into that later. It might not be nothing we're doing. It might be something that somebody else is doing. It's totally fine, right? You might have a business partner. You might hire somebody. You might hire a web designer, right? But sometimes we creep out into this area, and it's okay sometimes, right? As entrepreneurs, sometimes we have to kind of make a decision to creep out into an area that we're not competent in. But if we're self-aware enough to know that we're not competent, we can manage our expectations and we can have realistic kind of an approach to what ends up happening is you start to push the circle out a little bit. Okay? But it's a conscious, intentional decision, right? This is going to look really messy, but I think you guys get my point. You kind of push out the circle a little bit. You start to, I know a little bit about LLC formation now. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going to go through a professional company, or a lawyer or something, but I kind of know a little bit enough to get me through phase 1 or 2 of my business, right? But what ends up happening is that I see entrepreneurs do this. Literally. It's just like they just cross they don't even know where their circle of competence, the end of the line is, and they're just all into all these different areas. And I've had it when we're working with clients. It's like, why did you even hire me to help you and consult in this area if you're gonna just tell me all this stuff that when I met with you, you had no idea any of this. This is why you hired me. Okay, so this is a wise person doesn't do this. A wise person is self-aware enough to okay, so self-awareness to know at least the competence level. Okay, there's other things there's some. Listen, I've heard all this. I've been self-employed for 12 years. Okay, self-employed for 12 years. Okay, my oldest daughter's in college. I live in Southern California. I got a sophomore in high school. I have 2 daughters. I got a wife, married 20 years. Okay, this is one of those things. I don't have any funnel hacker things behind me. I don't have any awards. The only fruits that I have from my success is being able to provide for my family in an amazing way, sending my kids to college. My kids are going to have no problems going to college. Just bought my daughter a Mini Cooper. We're shipping it out to Ohio. She goes to Kent State University. She's going to college in almost 3,000 miles away from us, right? And it's because I fly out almost every month to check in with her and stuff like that. My business partner's in Cleveland. So it's one of those situations where that's the only fruits that I have. Okay. It's like, I don't, is that I'm actually living the life, which is mostly what most entrepreneurs are doing. It doesn't look glamorous. They're just making money. They're doing their thing, whatever. Okay. The reason I say that is because, there's a ton. I heard all the stories. I'm connected to a ton of entrepreneurs, meaning that I'm in a network of a ton of entrepreneurs. And it's just I can see from a mile away. I got one person that I know that they love hiring pretty young girls, and they keep having problems in their office. And I'm like, bro, you don't see that? You don't see that? I can tell. I'm looking at you, and you don't see that that's the problem. You're not self-aware enough to know that you have a bias towards pretty girls. And I'm not talking about sexual harassment or nothing. Okay, I'm not talking about any inappropriate type of. Maybe there is some lines being crossed, but I don't mean in any lawsuit type way. I mean just when dudes and girls get around each other, little weird things happen. When you have guys on the team who have that have worked hard to get where they are, and you bring on this new employee that's a pretty young girl, and you got moving her up and around, people are like, hey, this is unfair. This is one of those situations where that is exactly what I mean, is knowing your behaviors. And he was like, yeah, I think you're right, man. I think you're right. I think that's the problem. I'm like, you think that's the problem? I know for a fact that's the problem. Which leads me into third-party awareness or other awareness. And other awareness or third-party awareness is essentially being able to read other people. Okay? So you're self-aware of yourself, but you can recognize patterns in other people. And one thing you'll notice about the human behavior, or just the human, okay, us, okay, I'm not an alien, so I'm talking about us, not talking about you. There's really only so many personality types. We think that there's like an infinite amount of like personality types and behaviors, and really you'll find that there's not. We're all wired. There's like, depending on who you think about, you got like all these different psychiatrists, famous philosophers, or psychiatrists, and all this stuff, and they'll group people up into different, like the DISC method, and I can't remember the other one that the ideograms and all those type of things, right? But you'll realize that they all just mean that, yes, we're just a combination of different ones, and there's only so many, and you can kind of like say, oh yeah, he's a something something type, or he's like this other person that I know, right? The fact that this person reminds you of another person that you know, lets you know that like we're not unique. Okay, so if you're self-aware, okay, and then you're also practicing pattern recognition and seeing other people, you become a way better entrepreneur. I don't care if it's sales. I don't care if it's managing other people. I don't care if it's just your skills and getting along with your business partners, and making people feel like they're a part of the team, and making people feel like they did a good job, and being able to give criticism. You just are just going to be better because, number one, you're not going to get in your own way, and you're not going to let anyone else get in the way. Okay? So that's the two lenses right there. The third lens is situational awareness, okay? And this can be, right? Think about like I'm a Navy SEAL, or I'm Jason Bourne, I'm a spy, and I go into a diner, and it's like I can see like there's an exit over there, the exit over there. This guy over here looks like he has a gun or something, and you're just like doing that. I think a lot of guys do that in general. Some women might. So if you do it and you're a woman, more power to you. This is that, but this is more focused on situations in business, okay? Because I think it's the same mental muscle is what I'm trying to say, all right? These things are going to help you in your personal life as well as your business life, because you just have one life. You're just one person. You're just one vessel, okay? So this is like recognizing opportunities versus time wasters. Am I in a negotiation? Wait, can I win this customer back? I kind of feel like, based off our conversation, I feel like they were just telling me that if I make this right, I can keep them as a client. Like, I'm trying to tell you, man, there are people that are oblivious to the situations they're in. There's a lot of times like where girls are dating, and they're like, the guy is just like, bro, you don't know, I'm trying to get you to propose, or like a guy likes a girl, and the girl's kind of like giving him the green light, like you could pursue me, but the guy doesn't realize that she's saying that, so he's doing that thing where he's like, can I text you tomorrow? Hey, can I call you? And the girl's like, I wish you would just take control and just pursue me. My whole point is, once you understand yourself and you understand other people, then there's another connection that happens, which is like everyone's independently doing their thing, and everyone has different abilities and ways they communicate, and you're reading in between the lines on situations. Okay, so again, this helps if you're an entrepreneur. I'm trying to tell you, I've been in so many meetings where it's like we get out the meeting and we debrief, and then somebody else is like, man, oh my gosh, this is bad. I'm like, this was good. They're like, how do you think that's good? I was like, think about what he said. He said this, and that. That means he was telling us what they want. Let's just send them another pitch deck with that information. But he said that, they're going to go another direction. I know he said that, but they're still going to be they're going to be in the process of going another direction. They don't have the other direction yet. Let's just send them a pitch deck with the new direction, right? What else can we lose? Oh, you're right. That's what I mean. That's what entrepreneurs, that's how entrepreneurs are. It's like, what was really said? They said they were going in a different direction, but they don't have another direction yet. They're going to pursue somebody else. Let's try to get back in there before they actually do that. So that's situational awareness. Then you have cultural awareness. Okay, so cultural awareness. Cultural awareness is understanding subcultures and their rules, right? So it's not just regions and people groups and things like that, where you have like, oh yeah, you know how the Polish people are, or the German people, or you go to Nigeria and it's like, yeah, the Nigerians are like that. And we can get into some stereotypes, but a lot of stereotypes are based in some truth. So we're not gonna, tiptoe around that. Like, okay, but stereotypes exist, but it's not just cultures like that. Okay, it's not just black culture or Irish culture or immigrant culture or anything like that, or Texas culture, this Silicon Valley culture. It's any group that has shared values, right? So sneaker culture, hip hop culture, country, Nashville, singer songwriter culture, right? There's a ton of different cultures, and all you'll realize, I got country club culture, developers, coders, right? You got all these different cultures that there's rules that they go by. Okay? And once you're a part of a culture, you realize the rules and you follow the rules, and they have their own language and all that type of stuff. And it's important for you as a business owner, the cultures that you want to tap into. One of the big ones is like people want to go for rich clients. It's like, yeah, man, I want to go for like high net worth clients. Okay, well, just understand how high net worth people operate. Okay? If you can understand the hidden rules, then you could move through the different cultures, even though technically you're not from that culture. Okay? So that is another form of awareness and not being oblivious. I've been around with so many people who don't realize that we're like in a new environment. I got a quick story because I know that this person won't watch this video. And this person I love, and they're not a business person, by the way. But there's a guy that I met through my cousin who's a multi-millionaire. Multi-millionaire. The nicest guy ever. He invested in one of my companies, okay, a while back. And he was throwing a party at his house, and he wanted to invite me, and he told me to bring somebody. So I brought my brother, okay? And because my brother's like very charismatic, okay? So I bring my brother, and you know me, I came up, my guy was like talking about how he likes whiskey and stuff like that. So I came with gifts. I brought a bottle of whiskey. And it doesn't matter if it was top shelf, but he had all these other special whiskeys. But it's just the fact that like, oh, you came bringing things, right? So this guy's house was amazing. This guy had a lake in his backyard. This guy, his house was ridiculous. Okay, he had like a cigar lounge in his house. He had in his bedroom, because he took us on a tour. In his bedroom, he had like a whole hallway that you go through, like almost like if you were going to like a really nice New York apartment, and like you open the door and there's like a hallway all the way down, and there's like these rooms off to the side. Well, that's what his bedroom was. When you open the door to his bedroom, there was a long hallway with shelves on this side, and then on this side had other little rooms in his bedroom. But when you keep going, it would open up into like the main area at the end, which would be like a living room or something like that, and like an apartment. It was like the bedroom. So like he had like an apartment in his house, okay? But he also had the refrigerator door. Like when you open up one of the shelving units in the hallway, when you open it up, it was like refrigerated, because sometimes he didn't want to leave his room. It just was crazy, okay? So I kind of understand this world because I've kind of been dealing with these people for a while. My brother did it. My brother was like, ooh, like acting like he ain't never been nowhere before. And I was like, hey man, like act like you've seen this before. Like I'm amazed too. I'm like inside, I'm like, oh my God. Oh, look at that. He got that too. Like I'm doing all of that, but I'm doing it inside. But I'm not giving him nothing. Like he's showing us for a reason. Like he's taking us on a tour for a reason. Okay. So I'm giving him something. And I was like, brother, like kind of hitting my brother, like, relax, bro. You acting like you ain't never seen nothing before. Right? So that was the first infraction that my brother, and this is all harmless. Okay, I'm just giving you it as a story. It wasn't a big deal. The second thing my brother did, which again, it's okay, is the guy had like an amazing collection of liquor. Okay, and he was like, whatever you guys want. So my brother went straight to his top shelf, and you know the tequila that comes in the like, it's like a ceramic, long ceramic. It looks like some sort of like antique thing. It's like white with the little blue stuff, little blue like designs on it. I know you've seen it. It's very expensive tequila. I can't even remember what it's called. And my brother was like, ooh, let me get that. Because my brother likes that type of stuff. He likes high-end things. And the guy made a comment. And this is when I knew. I was like, he's like, oh, okay, so you're trying to go for my expensive stuff. He's making a little joke. But he noted that like, oh, out of all these other things, you went to the top shelf and went for the most expensive thing. That says something to a person. So especially somebody who understands total awareness or intuitively understands total awareness, right? Because there are people who haven't learned it this specific way, but they have it. Some of you might have it. It's like one of those things where it's like, bro, like, there's like an unwritten rule. Like, why are you going for my most expensive cigars? Like, you're like, you know what I mean? It's like, even though I'm offering whatever you want, like, it's almost like a test, but I'm not trying to test you. But there is a result of your answer. So that's like this the best way to explain like cultural awareness, understanding like different people and the unwritten rules. And if you're not trying to be in that world, then you are going to look like you're not part of that world. Okay. So, and this is agnostic to any type of culture. All cultures work the same. Okay. So the last one is temporal awareness. So this is hindsight, insight, and foresight. Okay. So think about using everything from the past, all your experiences, all your spankings, all your bumps on your knees, all the times you fell down, all the times you were successful, all the times you won, and being able to use that to make insightful, wise decisions in real time while setting yourself up for the future. So this is one of those things where as you become a person who's like in current situations, because we always live in the present, but you're always able to pull from the past really fast, use it to inform yourself where you are now. But at the same time, you're making decisions that are not short-sighted. They're long-sighted. They're like future-based. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to go with this option C. And option C is going to set you up for the future. There's multiple options that are going to set you up for right now, but option C is the only one that's going to set you up for the future. So this is kind of the things that like we believe. We're going to get, trust me, we're going to get into like, what am I building? But it's really hard for me to tell you what you're going to build if you're not even a person that knows how to think like an entrepreneur. To know what to build is you have to think a certain way. Okay, so I'm going to give you some information, and it might be like Chinese, and you don't know Chinese or Mandarin or whatever the right way to say it. Okay, so I want to make sure that we're just getting your mind ready so that you can watch this video over and over again, and you can understand. Okay, so the last one I want to show you is this is something called the OODA loop. Okay, for this, and this is important. We're spending a lot of time in phase one, because a lot of you guys might be in phase one. And honestly, I hope that the majority of you who watch this video are in phase one, because I think it's going to make the video that much more helpful. Okay. So the OODA loop is something that every entrepreneur should think about as they move through life. So how do you practice this type of stuff? Well, I think this is kind of like the loop of your framework for how you move and make decisions. Okay, so I'm going to explain it. So you observe, orient, decide, then act. So what this means is observe is gathering information. Okay, so you're gathering signals, customer quotes, search trends, complaints, competitor offers, all this stuff, right? That's from a business standpoint. If we make it agnostic to business, you go to Disneyland for the first time and you have no idea. It's like, well, I don't even know what to do. Okay, where do I go? Okay, you have to become a good person, a person who's good at gathering information. You don't have enough. The reason you don't know what to do is because you don't have enough information. Okay, so either you didn't do research before you got into Disneyland. But say you just like teleported into Disneyland. Somebody just like snapped their fingers and teleported you into Disneyland. You're like, man, how do I get information? Well, there's a ton of ways to get information. Ask people, go to your phone, get a map, whatever. Like you have to put a lot of stuff on the table. Okay, you got to, I'm gonna get this information. You ever see like those detective movies and somebody won't let the case go, and the sergeant or whoever the captain is or whoever said, "You're off the case," and then the person can't let it go, so they take all the files home, and then somebody comes, like their partner comes to their house because they're not coming to work, and they're like, "Man, what's the matter with you?" And they go in their room and they see like this wall of just all this stuff on the wall and all the red string lines, and it's like, I'm so close to solving the case. They're gathering information. Okay, they're bringing it all in. They're not necessarily making any decisions about it. They're just bringing it in, and they're figuring out a way to kind of sort through it, which moves into orientation. Okay, so once you observe, which is literally just gathering information, you need more information, or I need this information, and you get good at knowing what information you need the more you think like this. Orientation is how do you organize the information in a way that tells you something. This is how people can see the same thing and have a different way that they explain it, or the different way that they even perceive it. This happens with politics. This happens in marriages. This happens all the time. It's because people are orienting themselves. And this is the part where the OODA loop is the most important, is observe and orient. Is if you're not this person up here, your orientation and your observing and orientation is wrong. Because think about it. You've seen people make bad decisions, and it's like, that's what you decided to do with the pieces of information you had. It's like, it's you. You're the problem. You don't know how to get your compass and use it the right way, right? But the person I'm talking to watching this video, you're not going to do that anymore, because you understand a fundamental thought that, like, if you don't gather the right information and you don't know what information to gather, then you're going to orient yourself wrong because you don't have the right information. And this is why this whole roadmap, we tell you what to do at each phase. And then the rest of this video, we're going to go through different things. You're gathering information. You're going to orient yourself the right way when you build your business. Okay? So observe, orient, decide. So you have to make a decision. So there's a moment where you have to decide what path you're going to go down. Okay? And this is going to happen. This might happen to you 100 times a day. It's going to be intuitive to you. This isn't something you have to always like, okay, well, hold on, let me observe. Wait, hold up, everybody, I'm observing. It might be like microseconds if it's like certain little small things. But for bigger decisions, you might want to actually intentionally go through these phases. Okay, so, well, hold up, I got to make a big decision today. Let me observe. Let me put everything down on paper, on my iPad. Let me give everything to ChatGPT, whatever. Okay. Now let me see the different patterns with this, right? Let me organize it this way and see, ooh, okay, I don't like the way the outcome, let me organize it this way, right? And then once you do that, now you can make a decision. You can't have, paralysis by analysis. You have to be a decisive person. So you're going to decide, and then you're going to do it. You're going to act. You're going to make it happen. Right? So obviously this happens in a business context, right? So gather signals, customers, quotes, search trends, complaints, competitor offers. So you're researching the business idea that you're gonna execute, or you're thinking about executing. Okay, sort the patterns, pick a direction that fits your strengths in the market, right? So you know the market, you know you're self-aware, you know your circle of competence, all that stuff. Then you're gonna choose the next tiny steps. So you're gonna talk to 5 people. And make a landing page. So you're like, okay, that's what I've decided to do, is based off my information, I know I need to make a landing page, and I need to get people to this landing page. And then you're just going to execute you're just going to be a decisive person that acts and does things. And then you can loop through again. And this is the whole point of this phases. The OODA loop is something you're going to do over and over and over and over again. Okay. So we spent enough time on orientation and intent, because I want to get you off the bench into business. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Like I said, this video is going to be very long, but it's going to be very helpful. Watch it 1,000,000 times. Watch it over the next couple of days if you have to. So problem, discovery, and a definition. Okay, so here you move from I think there's an opportunity to I can clearly state the customer's pain. So that's kind of like the overall. Personal, so the personal dimension, you practice seeing the world through the customer's eyes. So this is where we're starting to really, we've already decided we'll be an entrepreneur. We already decided that we're not going to just launch a business that we want to launch. We're going to make sure that there's actually a demand for the solution that we want to do. And we have kind of locked into like, we found kind of like a winner. Okay. And we're starting to, again, remember orientation, we're orienting ourselves through the customer's eyes. So we're going to rearrange the information that we're getting from the gathering information. We're going to rearrange it different because we're looking through the customer's eyes now. Okay. So yeah. And then in the business track, you turn vague ideas into crisp problem statements. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. I have a visual to show you on that. So think from the customer's point of view, not your ideas. Hold assumptions loosely, let evidence guide you. So you can't build a business off assumptions because you're going to build your first layer of your business off things you assume. And then you don't even know if they're right or wrong because they're assumptions. And then you're going to build next layers on top of that. And then those assumptions are wrong. And then it all collapses. Okay. I've had this happen so many times in my early years where I would build websites for business owners because I'm thinking that they know what they want. And I'm a web designer. I'm not really like a business consultant yet. This is like early on. So like, they're like, yeah, man, I need you to do this on my website. And here's the copy. And I want you to put this page. And I want you to do this. And I want people to click on this. And I want to go to this page. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. I'm building it. It looks amazing. We're all like high-fiving. And then they get no sales. And they're like blaming the website. I'm like, I did what you wanted. And it happened too many times. Okay. It happened too many times where I was like, man, I got to like push back on customers when they want me to do things that aren't going to work. And that's how I got into the world of like consulting and understanding this stuff really is because I was getting blamed because you're going to blame the website. It's like, man, the website's not working. I had this client say, I needed a sales website and it's not giving me any sales. I was like, you were so specific what you wanted and you were so picky on what you wanted. Like I gave you literally exactly what you wanted to the point where you were so happy. Right. And again, not really their fault. It wasn't really my fault, but it was kind of things I needed to change that I needed to add another skill to my repertoire. Okay. So I don't let customers build. I'll be like, okay, where are you basing that off of? You know, sometimes things are very intuitive. We can make a baseline assumption, but for the most part, it's like I ask customers or my clients, it's like, okay, why are we doing it that way? They're like, and they don't really have evidence for it. So I say, hey, here's kind of what I that I'm seeing now that's working. And, you know, it still might be a loose assumption, but it's at least based off of some evidence that's in the market. Okay. So, you know, hold assumptions loosely. Talk to people, document unmet needs in their words. Okay. So that's the personal track. Business, choose one problem worth solving. Specific, frequent, and costly. Okay. This is kind of like what we're doing in this phase is we're really dialing it in. Okay. Reduce the scope until it's a clear enough test. And scope basically means it's like you might be trying to do too much for the customer at first. Okay. And you just want to say, hey, I want to just solve this one specific thing. Okay. And I give you a really great idea for this. So you want to help people lose weight. So you're like you're a fitness trainer or something like that. You have some sort of program and you just want to help people lose weight. That's very vague. I want to help moms who've just had their baby get their bodies back. Just you reduce the scope to a very specific thing. Okay. So yes, I'm helping people lose weight, but I'm helping moms who just had babies get their body back or get the body they want. That's specifically who I'm targeting, the language I use, the images I use, the videos I use. That is who I'm talking about. The testimonials that I'm going to get are going to be to that person. Okay. That's what narrowing the scope down. And that's what you want to get to is that kind of niche-y. So who has it, when it appears, and how it shows up day to day. So that's the problem. Okay. The problem. Okay, and then again, I'm not going to go through all this, but actually, I do want to go through this, the 4 layers of the problem, because this is very important. Actually, I'm going to go through this when we get to the business blueprint, because the business blueprint is another framework I'm going to show you before you know what to build. This is going to help you, and we cover this. So we're going to move on to stage or phase 3. Okay, so these phases are kind of like just a loose way for you to be like, okay, in order to leave this phase, I need to at least adopt this type of thinking and kind of be somewhat this type of person and move in this way that makes sense to me. Okay, so we give you a lot of different things to help you with this phase. Don't think of it as like something where it's like, I don't think exactly like that, or I feel like I'm in phase 4, but I'm also in phase 3. Just want you to catch up to yourself. So you might be business, you might be in phase 4, but like you still might be stuck on phase 1 as an entrepreneur. Just catch yourself up, okay? It's not about perfection, okay? So phase 3 is evidence, mindset, and customer validation, okay? This phase replaces guessing with proof. So this is where you're trying to like narrow the scope and you're doing research and all that. This is like you actually have proof that this business is a viable direction to go. These problems are worth solving and people have them. People want them solved. Okay, so this phase replaces guessing with proof. Personally, you learn to run small tests and accept what the data says. In the business track, you validate that real people feel the pain and will engage with your message. Okay, so treat ideas as hypothesis, learn from tiny experiments. And I think that as an entrepreneur, you really need to start being a scientist where you're testing all your little ideas because you want to kill them quickly, or you want to get validation or some sort of like positive feedback quickly. Then you move to the next step. This helps you not waste time and effort, money, resources, frustration, right? Going on wild goose chases because you got this bright idea. You heard some YouTuber say, try this new thing, and then you're over here building this whole thing to do it. To do little small experiments, okay? Companies do it all the time, just so you know. Big multi-million, multi-billion-dollar companies do these little small experiments. Google releases apps and then kills them. Like just literally sunsets them. You'd be like, dang, this big company's tried all these different things because that's what you do, okay? So it's not like, you know what, I'm an entrepreneur, everything I do works. And I gotta, when I put something out, listen, we never let anybody down. Real businesses let customers down. Okay. It's a part of life. Name time you went to a restaurant, you ordered something, these big $billion companies, the thing came late, you got bad service. It happens all the time. That's not what business is about. Business is about having things in place to get through those hard parts of business, right? So yeah, let's go over here to business track. Oh no, I didn't finish this. Comfortable being wrong quickly. So this is you as an entrepreneur at this point. You should just be like, if one of your employees proves you wrong, you should give them a raise or reward them or celebrate them. Okay, it's not you. That doesn't. You don't care about that. You care about the right way. Interviews, polls, landing pages, record what actually happens. So this is basically just like you as an entrepreneur being able to be good at looking at data, okay, looking at analytics, looking at information, basically. And then test pain-focused messages to identify what resonates. So this is where we start getting into language. And my analogy before with like, if I'm trying to help people lose weight and I'm putting out language, so I'm putting out messaging, so social media posts, ads, videos, doesn't matter, billboards, you see words and images and things that I'm putting out as a company, as a brand, and I'm trying to get people to resonate with my message. And I say, I'm going to help you lose weight and whatever. That sounds good. But imagine saying, I help, just had a baby, want your body back, hit me up. I got a 90-day program or 6-week program that'll get your body the way you want it. And you'll have a picture of before and after. that messaging is going to resonate with people more than just, I help people lose weight. It's just the more specific you are, the more it resonates with the individual. Okay. And what you'll realize is that you'll say to yourself, but there's so many people that I can help. There's so many people that want to lose weight. That's why you're testing the market. How many women are having babies? Okay. You start getting numbers, you'll be like, oh, can I make this program online? Now there are millions and millions of babies born a day. You can 100% reach the moms. Okay. So we'll keep going. And this is where I'm trying to get people. So what to build? Let's try to get a MVP up in 90 days from when you decide you're an entrepreneur. This is just, and we're going to talk about MVP stands for minimum viable product. Okay. Can I get some, because I'm going to tell you exactly, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking of, you want to build like the final version because that's what you think business is about. But you're going to learn something called the skateboard method, which we're going to teach you, the skateboard method. And this also in here is going to show you like different ways that you could build an MVP and things to think about. But I'll go through the skateboard method roughly here. Okay. So now you build the smallest useful version and get it in front of people. Okay. So personally, you choose momentum over perfection and work in weekly loops. Okay. In the business track, you launch an MVP to collect real usage and revenue signals. So you got to get something up to see if people are going to buy, if they're clicking, if they're going to do whatever. Okay. So number one is you need to learn and adopt skateboard method. And the skateboard method is this, just a loose way to think about it. You're trying to solve a problem for a group of people in your neighborhood. They're trying to get from point A to point B. So there's a destination and they're trying to get to another destination in your city. And most people are thinking about, well, we need to build a car for these people. Cars are very complex. Just think about a car and all the things you need, and the seat, what do we make? How long do the seats go back, and the steering wheel? What height should we have it go to, and what do people have Android phones or Apple phones? Should we have CarPlay or Android, whatever Android's version of CarPlay is? Like, okay, should we have tinted windows? Like, you got all these different things you're thinking, right? And what you end up making is a car that really no one wants. And not only that, you've been working on the car for 2 years. So you haven't even solved the problem. You haven't been making any money, and you haven't got any feedback, and everything's based off assumptions. What you do is quickly build a skateboard. Throw that out in 90 days. People are going to be like, hey, that isn't what I wanted. That means the pain wasn't big enough for them. The people who are like, man, I'll ride a skateboard. I just need to get from point A to point B. That's your first group. So guess what you've done? You've made money, and you're going to get feedback because now you have users. Okay. In a way, the reason I know this is true is there are people in our neighborhood, everywhere I've ever lived, that have cars. There are people that ride bikes. Now people are riding these electric scooters, and now I see these people riding these electric bikes. I'm talking about grown people, that you think would never ride a bike or a scooter. They are riding a scooter because they need to get from point A to point B. They're not going to not travel. They're not going to just stay at their house stranded. Okay. So you build a skateboard, you put that out, you're getting feedback, and now the feedback says, hey man, this skateboard is great, but it's hard to like steer a skateboard. You like, okay, let's add some handlebars to it. You make a scooter, you throw that out. Now those people upgrade to the scooter, and you got new people come in who's like, oh, the scooter is better than the skateboard. I will get that. And before you know it, you iterate. So you make a bike, you make a motorcycle, you make a car. And before you know it, you have this product that is really dialed in because you didn't base off assumptions. And you were making money every step of the way. You were building customers every step of the way. You were building a brand. This is how most companies have launched. Every version of the Tesla, every version of the TV you like, every version of the software you use, there was a beta version, then a launch version, and they kept adding features. And this is the way of business. Okay, so the skateboard method is 100% helps you by realizing that perfection is not, it's going to kill you. It's going to kill your business. It's going to kill your momentum. Okay. If you are building a business and I say this to you, some of you guys, because I know this is some of you, your business is tied to your ego or your reputation in a sense. And again, I'm not saying create crap that tarnishes your reputation. That's not what I'm saying. All of our businesses are tied to our reputation. I'm talking about, there are certain business people that I've worked with where like we spent so much time on the way the logo looked because they felt that people would see them differently. And this is why we separated the personal track from the business track. You got to realize your business is another entity out here that's going to leverage for money. It's not, yes, it's going to make you feel good, but if the business main priority is to make you feel more validated as a human and you feel inadequate as a human, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time working with other people because every decision feels personal. Every decision feels like it's an attack on you and how you think, and you need to separate that, okay? The skateboard method will liberate you. This is exactly what my problem was. I've had imposter syndrome, so everything had to be perfect before I launched it because people are going to judge me. And it goes back to the fact that I don't have a college degree. I went to college twice. I dropped out twice because I was like, F this. And I went the hard route. I went the hard knock life route. And fast forward, I've been self-employed doing big business, making good money for 12 years. So I have finally let that go and said, I am qualified. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. But for the longest time, I was a perfectionist. And my business partner was like, bro, we're never going to launch these things because we are spending too much time. And I was like, it has to be perfect. And we adopted the skateboard method, and it's changed our lives as business owners and like entrepreneurs. Okay. So this is why we rush people to 90 days to come up with just the first version of your thing. Okay. And we'll show you what that kind of can look like, right? And what that means. Like I said, we're just doing I'm teaching you foundational stuff, right? So we want to ship imperfectly, review weekly, and improve deliberately. So shipping is like a Silicon Valley tech term. It's basically like new features, adding new features or launching something to the web. And every time you ship, it's just like a new version or a new thing was added. So it's just like a kind of like a Silicon Valley term, but the reason we're borrowing this is because even though you may not be building software, it might be like an actual business. You just want to we want to ship this out, get it out. And there's this thing that Mark Zuckerberg said, at least I'm attributing it to him, the quote to him, where it's like fail fast, right? Like, again, you want to try something and see if it's going to work like really fast. And this is what this whole 90-day thing is like you've done little tiny experiments to get here. This is like kind of like the final big experiment where it's like, hey, let's really see, can we generate some money? Can we generate some emails? Can we get some leads, right? We're trying to see if it's going to work even further down the road so we don't waste our time. So, and then for business, put a usable offer funnel live and observe behavior. We'll talk about that. Let the market tell you what matters through data. And then a basic page, like this is just like landing page or like an opt-in page, and then like some sort of like way to I'll get into the funnel thing. And then down here, I'm actually not going to go into 5 and 6 and 7 because 5 is basically what we're going to do when we learn about this. Once we're in this phase and we're getting data back, we're going to go into 5 where we're going to actually like try to put out the next level of our thing. And then there's just these different places, different phases where you start to like really systematize everything. And then now this is just like scale. Like we have something that works. How do we just get way more people through it? You know what I'm saying? So, but you can go check these out. And then the 4 must-haves that actually to make progress. And this is actually going to make sense once we get through this. is number one is you need a community. So I encourage every one of you guys to do this in a digital way or a physical way. So actually become connected to other entrepreneurs in some sort of way. All right. We have an accelerator program that is super duper cheap. And we'll get into that more towards the end. I'll share that with you more towards the end. You can get more information about it too by taking our readiness assessment, which I'll share. But just want to let you know that like we do have a community that we're building. We're at the early stages of it, but it is open. And me and my business partner are active. The second thing is education, what you're doing now. It's important to be a self-learner, but then also act. Don't be the person who just takes a bunch of courses and just never does anything with it. We encourage doing something and then action and then learning in real life and then coming back, and you're going to have a ton of questions a lot of times. That's where the community comes in, right? And then AI is your partner. We believe that AI, used the right way, can really help you. Not even just building an AI business or forcing your customers to go through AI things, which can help depending on your business. I mean, you as an entrepreneur, AI can be your partner to help you think through ideas. It's just very important to be very specific and give it the right context, because AI has access to everything. So you ask it a bunch of times, it's going to give you different answers. But if you give it the right context, it's going to kind of give you more consistent answers based off what you give it. And last but not least, this is actually the one I probably should have started with, is software. So we have software we use that is called Go High Level. So I don't know if you heard of it. 90,000 plus entrepreneurs use it, businesses use it. It's award-winning software. And we have a version of Go High Level that we white labeled, which basically means that we pay Go High Level to let us offer it under our own brand, which we call the Giant Maker operating system. But it literally is Go High Level, okay? If I go to Giant Maker OS, if you want to check it out, we explain the software, everything it does. There's a demo, all the different features. You can build funnels and CRM. There's a CRM and social media scheduler and email, SMS marketing and automations and AI agents and chatbots and payments and invoicing. Like, it does everything. I'll let you go through this. The reason I'm showing you this is, if I go back to the entrepreneur roadmap, is because what we're talking about, what's going to make it easier, is software and technology is a layer. Because this technically is the system, the digital marketing system you're building is your CRMs and your emails and your funnels and your automations and your automatic follow-ups and all these different things that makes it easier for you to actually create a business that you're leveraging. And you're just trying to get people into it, and you're providing so much value because your system is really good. It's going to be software. Now, you can use other software. A lot of software does what Go High Level does. I'm just being transparent and basically saying that that's the software we use to run our business as a Giant Maker. So we use High Level / the Giant Maker operating system, and we give you we just kind of, again, we're all about transparency. Like, we want you to make the decision that's best for you, but like, how to get access to the software, there's two ways. Number one is, if you want to get access to the software, you have to go through our accelerator program. It's because the software is the learning curve is a lot. You could do everything. So it's like, where do you start? That's part of why I'm making this video. But it's like, we feel like we can better help you with our accelerator program, and you get the software because we can offer it to you, because we white labeled it. We can give it to you, but you also get the community, you get the courses, the education, and you get our AI tools that we've built for you, which I'm going to show you some of that in the future in this video. But just letting you know, you can go through the accelerator. It's comparable to the same price as Go High Level. But the only way that you can get it is to go through accelerator, and the way you do that is you go through the readiness assessment, which is free, takes 5 minutes, and you just start answering these questions so we can just see where you are. And then you're going to get an email explaining the price and all that type of stuff. And this is totally free to go through this part. So just want to be very clear with that. But if I go back to the Gymec operating system, you can also go through Go High Level. Just go to their website and sign up through them. And you could go directly to them and just get it by itself. So that might be helpful for some of you guys. You guys might not want to do the courses and all that type of stuff. And you're like, hey, man, I'll figure it out myself. Totally fine. That's your prerogative. Just wanted to be clear because when we're talking about, again, when we're talking about this roadmap, we're actually talking about building something on the internet that attracts customers. Even if you're a brick and mortar store, you're doing stuff in person, the best way to leverage and build a system that's automated and does a lot of work for you is to use software. Okay. So these are the 4 things that we think that you're going to need to be successful on this journey. And that's why it's on the journey page. Okay. So now that we've done this, we're going to go through, we've gone through the roadmap and total awareness and the OODA loop and all that. Now I want to show you, there's 2 more things I want to show you before we get to like that graphic that I showed you at the beginning where we talk about what you're actually building. And the reason I want to show you these other things because it's all about foundational knowledge. It's really hard to learn level 7 things if you don't understand level 5 and 6. Okay, so you understand the roadmap. Where are you on a roadmap? Read through these, and you'll see that this is literally the roadmap to success. If you do these things, you will be successful. Okay, so that's like the what, right? So let's go to, and all this stuff is on our website, by the way. So I want to go through show you something called the 5 pillar business blueprint, which I think we're going to change it to the blueprint 5. We're working on naming it something different. Okay. So this is the part that's important, right? So I broke down the foundational elements of thinking like an entrepreneur. Okay. But in order to know what to build, you need to obviously know who you're building it for, right? You need to know what are you offering, what are you selling, right? There's a lot of different pieces you need to know. And we don't really believe in traditional business plans, but we do believe in a plan, okay? And the 5 pillar business blueprint is our version of kind of like you thinking through some very specific things so that you can kind of have a baseline and have a clarity on your business. So let's go through it, and I'm going to show you an example of one. So most entrepreneurs fail not because they lack passion or ideas, but because they skip the foundation. This blueprint is a happy medium between jumping too fast and over planning forever. So let's get into why this blueprint matters. So like I said, people jumping too fast, so you're just winging it. You're just guessing. Okay, that's not going to work. You overplan. So there's no you're trying to get clarity through thought and strategy and planning, and it's never going to happen. You're only going to get so clear, and then once you actually get onto the journey, then you're going to see things from a different perspective. You're like, oh yeah, that thing would have never worked. So this is like, again, like I said, in the middle. So this anchors all your decisions in your business, which is going to help you make better decisions because you're not guessing all the time. You have a source to make your decisions from. It keeps you from building on sand, and it auto-corrects your choices as you learn and grow. And auto-correction is essentially when you as a human start to think a certain way and be a certain type of person, you just automatically correct yourself in real life. So it goes back to that total awareness of OODA loop where you just make better decisions because you have really good information in your mind. Okay, what information am I talking about? All right, we're talking about 5 pillars. So pillar 1 is going to be, pillar 1 is going to be the problem. So if you notice, we're very consistent with understanding the problem and knowing the problem, and people hate pain and people want to get away from the problem. Okay. So why it matters. People pay for bridges across problems they deeply feel. Okay. You are the bridge. Okay. That's what you're building. And people want to get somewhere. People want to be transformed. They want to be transported. Okay. It doesn't matter. They want to be in a different state. There's something in their way and they want to be beyond that thing in their way. Okay. So we basically define what's really holding people back and explore how pain shows up across their life. Okay. And I'm actually gonna go. I'm surprised I don't have it on this page, but if I go back over to the Entrepreneur Roadmap, there is a breakdown for this. I think it's right here, and it's the 4 layers of a problem. Okay, so this is what's going to give you unlimited content for social media. This is what's going to give you ideas for videos, blog articles, ads. This is going to give you content for information on how you're going to your sales pitch and everything. Okay, so there's 4 layers to every problem. So the first layer is the big hairy problem. It's the stated problem. This is what people say. I want to lose weight. So a lot of you guys are trying to build businesses around I want to lose weight. You're making content about I want to lose weight. But you forget that there's an emotional side to this problem. How it makes people feel. Shame, frustration, feeling invisible, fear of judgment, right? So you got the big stated problem. Then you have these emotional feelings. So you're going to put that in your messaging. You're going to talk to the client, to your video. When you make your videos, you're going to be like, I know you're frustrated, and they're going to be like, oh, this person really understands me. Then you have your ripple effect problems. So these are the problems that's basically it basically connects into other parts of their life from the main problem. So lower confidence at work, anxiety about dating, avoiding summer trips because of no summer body. So now you're going deeper, you're making this list and you're like, wow, I can do content around this. Or you start to dive into very specific problems that your company or your solution really, like, you might help people get their body right for dating. So, and then the root cause is why it keeps happening, right? So people don't mind you getting that deep into their problem if it informs your solution. Because at the end of the day, people just want to get rid of their problems. Okay, so check this out. It's important, especially because problem is what you're building your business around. It's important to understand this, okay? And I'm going to show you what this looks like a final business blueprint looks like. So let's go back to the frameworks and let's go back to 5-pillar business blueprint. So once we understand the problem, okay, we already are going to make better decisions because no one's going to distract us. When people start talking to us about ideas for our business, we're basically saying, no, these are the problems I'm focused on and that's all I care about. Okay, so we're putting guardrails up and we're constraining our thought on purpose because it's going to make easier to make decisions, right? When we're building our websites and our funnels, it's going to be easy because we know exactly the problem we're talking about, right? The second pillar is who are we talking to? Okay. And it's important to realize that there's something called a minimum viable customer and there's something called a primary audience. Okay. So sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. I'll explain it. But if you're starting off, you should think of the minimum viable customer as the person that's going to be aligned with what you have right now, with where you are in your business phase. Okay, so if you're a new business, right, you just launched, you're not going to be able to maybe essentially steal customers away from another company that's already been established because you're new and people are going to know you're new. So your customer has to be a certain type of customer. And I always think of like Kickstarter. So if you ever are familiar with Kickstarter, where people like kind of like give money towards projects that are like cool, that is a certain type of person. Okay? That's a person who understands that you're new. They like novelty. They like feeling like they funded something, right? They like to discover things. So a lot of times you're not going to get somebody who's looking for a 3D printer in the market right now. If you're trying to launch a 3D printer on Kickstarter and you put out this video like, here's what we're trying to do. We haven't done it yet, but here's like where we are. There's a certain type of person. So a minimum viable product I mean, another example is for me. If I am a business consultant and I just launch, and I say I want to go for CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, well, that's not where I'm at. That might be a primary audience I want to get to, but I might just need to work with local mom and pop business owners. Okay, I'm offering the same solution, but my minimum viable customer that's going to align with where I'm at as a business is mom and pops. And then I work myself up to CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Does that make sense? Some of you guys, it's almost trying to date out of your league. Some of you guys are going out of your league for your audience. And this is going to change over time as you grow. But I'm just saying, if you're starting off, your audience is got it. If you got, 2 lawnmowers and a weed whacker, you're not going to get a golf course. Okay. You're not going to get, $1 million homes. You're going to get local residential people who are looking for a deal. And that's totally fine. Okay. So once you understand your problem, it's going to inform your audience, because you should have been talking to them, but you're going to really dial in. And again, I'm going to show you what this looks like. Then you want to understand the solution. And the solution is something we call the AVM, Ascending Value Model. It's going to make a lot more sense, but these are the things you're selling, you're offering to the public in order to solve their problem. Okay. So you see how it's just like, you have to know the problem first. Then you need to know who, because you want to know how you're going to sell it to them. Okay. And you want to build it around them. Okay. And then it's the brand. And the brand, the best way to explain brand is it's a consistent grouping of things. Okay. So every time I see this logo, I see these colors, or I see this patterns, or I see this, or I see that, or I see this, or I see that, right? And you do that consistently enough, and that you want that to resonate with the audience. So, for example, say let's just, the thought experiment I use all the time is, let's think of Marriott hotels. Some people call it Marriott, but I actually knew somebody that worked for it, and they said it's pronounced Marriott. So I'm going to say Marriott, or like Hilton hotels, any of those like kind of business class, generic, but really nice hotels that are all across America, right? You know what I'm talking about. Double Trees and all those type of hotels, right? Which is by Hilton, I'm pretty sure. Let's just take those and think of a hotel you stayed at, and think of a couple hotels you stayed at, or hotels you've seen, and just swap the logos. So take the Hilton and move it to the Marriott. Take the Marriott, move it to the Hilton. If you were to go into the hotel, it wouldn't matter. Nothing would change. There's nothing unique about those hotels, okay, based off a brand, all right? That's why they really focus on those loyalty programs, because everyone's shopping off a price because there's no uniqueness, okay? Now think of a Nike hotel, okay? Think of an Apple hotel, okay? Apple does not have a hotel. Nike does not have a hotel. But every single person can imagine what a Nike hotel would look like, an Apple hotel would look like, okay? And why? Because you've been in Nike stores, you've been in Apple stores. Apple has a certain look that they certain materials they use. The tables are made out of a certain wood. There's a lot of glass. So that's what I mean by grouping. The type of people that work at Apple stores. You go to an Apple store over here, and I used to work for Apple, by the way, back in the day. So it was the best job I've ever had in my life. But if I go to Apple store in New York and I go to one in California, it's the same vibe. It's the same feeling. It's the same type of employees. It's the same. They're using the same language. They're dressing the same. Even though there's a ton of different people in the Apple store with a ton of different personalities, it attracts a certain type of person. So branding is a consistent grouping of things. Doesn't matter. It's materials, it's the glass, it's the wood, it's the way the products look, it's the way the employees look, the way the employees talk, the way you feel when you're in the store, the way they talk to you, the tone. Nike the same way. So branding is about picking intentionally those grouping of things. And those grouping of things should always be used. So that way it resonates with the audience, because people are emotional. So branding is like another layer on top of your business that keeps people engaged in your business once you've done right by them. Okay? Branding is really, honestly, your way to get repeat business and to make your marketing cheaper. But it doesn't work at the beginning. You have to consistently do it over a period of time. Then you start to be able to cash in on your brand. Okay, so just realize that's what it is. That's the best way for me to explain it. And you can be intentional about it and consistent, and then people just start to associate certain things with you. And this is why people want to protect their brand. So there is an intangible element of it where it's emotion, feelings, woo, 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 magic. And then there's like a tangible thing, which it is like the things they can touch and feel and see and hold. And we go deep on it in our course, but that's just a big part of this. And then the pillar number 5 is distribution. Okay, how you deliver your message to the world. So this is in content, ads, partnerships, community engagement. This is marketing. Distribution is how can you put your stuff in front of people, and how many people can see your stuff. This is going to market. This is eyeballs. Okay, so just realize that these are the 5 things that you need to know. And let me show you what it looks like. So this is actually a business blueprint created by our business blueprint creator that if you join our accelerator program, you get access to. So you go to business blueprint, you put in your information about your business. You could put in like paragraphs, or you could put in 2 words, okay? You could put any additional context in. We even show you how to like shape your blueprint. So like for some of you guys don't really know, you're going to just give it some basic information. For some of you guys have some things locked in, you're going to add those things to lock those in. And then the AI is going to go and it's going to do research on the internet, and it's going to basically build out your business blueprint. So this is kind of like a business overview. Then we get into the problem, and it shows you kind of like where it did the research. And it's basically going to say, hey, here's your stated problem. Here's your internal problem, which is the emotional problem. Here's your ripple effects problem. Here's your solution friction. Okay. And then it's going to give you a primary audience. So this is the audience you should go for right now. And it's going to tell you where they are, where they're trying to get, where they are currently, what's blocking them, their interests, their fears, their habits, their communities, their attributes. So it's going to talk about the type of person it is. Then it's a secondary audience, and then we give you an emerging audience, and then we have solution, which is the AVM, which I'm going to break down the AVM next. That's the next thing we're going into, but it's the ascending value model, and there's 5 tiers. So it's going to break down the 5 tiers for you, and it's going to give you ideas for each tier. This is really the most important one, is like your core offer. This is the main thing you're selling to solve their problem. And then it's going to give you tier 5, which is like high ticket VIP custom things. Then it's going to give you a brand that you can start with. And it's also going to give you your marketing, kind of your marketing strategy that you can, again, this is just suggestions. And then you could so this is a business blueprint. This would be like, it takes like maybe like 5 minutes. Once you put information in, it goes through, and all that stuff takes about 5 minutes. And then you can do as many as you want for many different businesses. And you can copy the report. So it copies all this. And then you can go to ChatGPT or any AI you use, and you can ask it more questions, and you can zoom in on certain things and say, hey, I would really want to talk about this. So this is what it looks like. I just want to show you visually that this is kind of really all you need before you start building your digital marketing system. Okay, this is like telling you. Oh, if we got to take down here, this is probably the part I probably should have focused on. Is it like tells you your funnels? These are like funnels. So it's telling you your funnels. It's telling you where you're marketing. Here's your digital marketing system. So here's the pages that's going to go on your website. Here's your different funnels and the different steps that you're going to do for your different funnels. It's personalized to the information you put in, right? So the more information you give it, the better it's going to do. and then it's going to tell you your email sequences and all that type of stuff, and it's going to like give you your content system for social media. Like it's like a starting point basically. Okay. So, yeah, so let's go to the AVM so this makes more sense now. So now it's a perfect segue into the ascending value model, okay? So let's go to frameworks, and let's go to the ascending value model, okay? So this is probably like the most important framework we teach because this is like your ecosystem that you're building, okay? So why the AVM matters. So why the ascending value model, okay? So it matches human buying behavior. People rarely jump straight to big purchases. They climb a ladder of trust and value. So we live in a world that's highly digital, and unfortunately we have companies that have scammed people or, are disingenuous about the expectations people can expect from their products and services. And what's happened because of that is buyer trust, consumer trust has gone down. So AVM is a solution to that, okay? It organizes your offers so every product, service, or piece of content fits into a clear tier with a defined purpose. So not only is it a system that helps you build with clarity, but it helps people move up and find where they need to be in your business ecosystem, okay? So it provides scalability. So start small with services and grow and leverage offers like digital products. That'll make more sense in a second. You build trust systematically. So it's designed to build trust and ensures no wasted effort. So there's having customers or people at every level is going to be very valuable to you, but it's also going to be valuable to them because they can get what they need from you. And you have designed it where it benefits you, okay? And it benefits them. And then creates clear next steps. So every touch point leads naturally to the next action, okay? So it's a staircase. So it's an ascending value model, but for some reason, it makes more sense to do it as a descending when you're explaining it, but technically it's ascending, it's the stairs, okay? So tier 1 is discovery content. So this is your short form content, okay? So this is TikToks, Reels, Shorts, Tweets. And these things solve tiny problems, entertain, and build, make you more familiar to people, right? There's this thing that says the 11th time somebody sees you is the first time they see you. This is how distracted people are. And for you to be at top of mind is very hard. So this is the first tier. So the way we look at this is we treat content as a product line. Okay? So that's why it's under solution. So your solution to people's problems is this whole thing. This whole thing is a solution to their problems, okay? We're just letting them choose where they want to stay on your ladder. So you're no longer looking at content as just content. Your social media content is a product line. So think about it as like you're a TV channel and you're putting out programming. They look at that as IP. They look at their programs or shows as a product. So are you. Your product it has a purpose, okay? So you're giving quick tips, micro tutorials, behind the scenes so people can be familiar with you, understand your process, right? When people, that's how they do it, that's kind of interesting, right? People don't just take your word for it, like show them, okay? It's important to do platform-specific stuff, so certain social media, certain things work better. But anyway, just those are some examples, but the focus of this is you're basically solving one tiny problem per piece of content. That's really all you're doing. And you're just trying to be discovered. So there's a magic thing that happens, okay, on social media, is that when you play by the rules of what they want you to play by, they're incentivized to find your audience for you. And if you can make content that's consistent, this is why we did the 5-pillar business blueprint, so we can make consistent content. When you make consistent content, Instagram, TikTok, all these, they will find your audience because they want to put ads in front of your audience. So they need content that allows them to sell ads. So if you make really, and it's not good as in production value, it's good as in resonating with people. Okay? Let this content be what it is. It's, hey, it's like almost like we hung out 10 times. And it's like, oh, you're really my friend. We've grabbed coffee over like 10 times over the past 3 months. It's like, I really like you. Let's go, let's hang out more. That's what this is, okay? So don't let this content do more lifting than it needs to do, okay? So that's tier 1. Tier 2 is the trust building content, your long form content. I also like to call it like your support content or authority content, okay? So these are blogs, YouTube, blog articles, YouTube videos, podcasts, and these are better if they're evergreen. Okay, evergreen is essentially like you put a blog article up and it's good for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You make a YouTube video and it's good 2 years. Somebody can discover it and it's good. The video I'm making right now is what this is for us. This is a evergreen video that I'm going to keep up on YouTube, and it's going to continually send people into our world, let people discover this. YouTube is the rare one that's discoverable. Blogs are discoverable, but the SEO is getting murdered by AI right now. Podcasts are not discoverable. So tier 2, but it's mainly, the reason it's tier 2 is because people don't necessarily want to give you their attention all the time. And social media just is a great place to find people because everyone's on it. So this is why it's tier 2, okay? But you'll notice that people are going to jump in through all the different levels of your ascending value model, and that's the whole purpose of it, okay? So let's talk about this type of content. So evergreen's important. And these are like the big questions. Like this is like you kind of like going deep on things that's really going to help people. So it's better if they're like bigger questions people have or things that are blocking people. You can make a video on it or a blog article on it or a podcast on it. And when you're making this content, people are going to get pushed to different places. One of the places you're going to push them is to this content because people still want to, remember, people want to trust you. Okay? Where is it at? Let's find the word trust. Trust builds trust systematically. People, the longer they spend time with you, the more they trust you. Okay? Also, too, this is like a binge bank. I have it all right here. Let me just read through it. So, approach. Create evergreen content that stays relevant for years. Okay, that's important. Show your methodology and thinking process. Include real examples and proof points. Make it binge-worthy. People should want more. So, when you hook somebody on social media, some of the people are going to be like, oh man, I really like their content. They keep mentioning they have a podcast, or they keep mentioning that they have this resource for me, or whatever. One day, they're going to be like, let me go check that resource. And if you don't have things for them to keep binging, just like Netflix, right, where it's like you discover a show, you just like keep watching it, you're going to lose that ability to build a relationship with somebody. And your system is doing it, right? You record a video, that video gets watched 1,000 times, which you think that you would need to have like millions of views. Not if you're a business selling a service, right? Just 1,000 times is all you need. You only need so many leads, right? My point is, it's doing all the work for you, but it's you. You're building a relationship with these people, okay? So that's tier 2. So this is also a product line, okay? Tier 3 is where we start the relationship. This is the lead magnet phase, okay? So quizzes, checklists, free trials, readiness assessments, discovery calls, ebooks, micro courses, whatever you want to give away for free. You're going to capture their email. Now you own a relationship. You don't have to go through social media anymore. You can email them. Okay? This is very important. So deliver a quick win with that showcases your expertise. So this is where you're actually starting to solve that first problem, the skateboard version or something, or a very small problem. You're solving it with this free thing. Okay? And there's a ton of ways to do this. There's a couple ideas over here, like PDF guides, comprehensive checklists, assessment tools, readiness quizzes, which we do. The readiness assessment or readiness quizzes are amazing. I'm going to show you something in a second. free consultations, strategy sessions, email courses, mini training series, free trials, limited time access, all things you can do, put in front of people. Now, for most people, they're going to have to go through your social media. They found you, discovered you, liked you, binged some of your stuff. Your call to action is your lead magnet. And now they're like in your lead magnet because they watched your YouTube video. Okay. And that's, you just, it automatically does that because in the video, you said that. In the description of the video, you link to your lead magnet. So now it's just sending you traffic. So that's why this is amazing. When you build it, the only thing you're really focusing on is new content on a daily basis. But this is evergreen, and these your lead magnets are just there. Once you've done all the research, remember, if we go back to Entrepreneur Roadmap, this is why it's important. You've done the research. You've asked the questions. You've talked to the people. You documented all this stuff. So by the time you get here, this is why your YouTube videos probably suck. This is why our YouTube videos are sucking. It's all explained. I went to the wrong one. It's all explained through just skipping steps. Like even ourselves. I just want to make that clear. Skipping steps is like the thing that just always exposes you. So lead magnet's important. And then once we get to a lead magnet, there's two routes you can go. Or you can do a hybrid of these. So this is a tiered system. But just think about within the system, there's also tiers, okay? So tier 1 is you might have a TikTok channel, Instagram, and you might do YouTube Shorts, and you're on Twitter or X, right? You're on 4. Okay, well, there's going to be one that's a primary, and then you're going to organize them in a tier where it's like, here's our priority and here's the secondary ones. Same thing with lead magnets. I'm sorry, with these. YouTube might be your primary thing you do, and then you throw out a podcast from your YouTube video or something like that. Same thing with lead magnets. You might have 4 or 5 different lead magnets in different videos or sending people to different lead magnets. Okay, so it's not just one thing. Okay, it can be, and this is when you start off. You might just have one. I just do Instagram. I do YouTube. I do this assessment, and then I sell this product, and that's all I have. That's totally fine. I actually think that's smart to do. But once you get to your lead magnet, so you have a lead, now they're in your funnel. You're going to send them emails. You're going to try to sell them something. There's 2 paths to go. So productized services or digital products. Okay. So we call it AVM growth because you're trying to grow your business, or AVM scale. Okay. You're trying to scale your business. Now you might want to do this from day one. So you're also trying to grow it, but you're using AVM scale. It's going to make sense when I tell you this. The fastest way to make money when starting a business is services. Okay? People are willing to spend more for a service if somebody's doing the service. It's just the way it is. Okay? So the example I use is I'm trying to help somebody lose weight. Okay? And I'm trying to help moms lose weight. Okay? And I sign up people and I actually train them. I personally train them. I could charge somebody more money for that, okay? And then obviously there's a limit to it, but I can make money. So if my goal is to make money quicker, I'm going to do a service, okay? But if I'm selling a program for moms to do at home, I can't charge as much as I would to do it in person. So I need to sell more of them, which just the problem is just distribution. It's how many people can I get into my funnel and convert. Over here, I only need 1 or 2 leads. Like I used to build websites and I used to charge a lot of money. I was surviving because I was getting referrals, but I only needed like 1 or 2 leads a month. I would close one, and I was making enough money on one website to like last me 2 months or 3 months of like my life. So sometimes I would do a website, and then I would just be working on other parts of my business for like 2 months, and then I would get a lead, and it would like come at the nick of time. And I had a problem with like my pipeline in general because I was just bad at that. But like I was getting saved, but somebody would be like, "Yeah, man, like I need help with a website, and I would charge them like 15, 25 grand. And I'd be like, man, I can make this 25 grand. I can spread it over 3 months and I'm good, right? And sometimes you're working on a website for 3 months and you're doing 3 payments, right? So it was just easier for me to make money doing services. But if I want to build like for example, like we sell Go High Level as a Giant operating system, right? So we sell the software. That's what we were doing before. And it was like, that's a digital product. So that's a course, or it's something where it's just digital, okay? And you can do physical too, right? Obviously, physical is a part of this. Where it lies is it could be any one of these. But sometimes your core offers are multiple core offers, right? So it's like, hey, we sell a course. If you were to merge these together, it's like we sell a course for $97, and then we sell a consulting call that is $500. That's going to be a productized service. And we have like the digital as the main core product, and then we have like another core product, which is this consulting service we do, which is it's a very rigid delivery. Like we go through a certain set of things with you, and this is what we deliver to you. And then you have like tier 5, which is your premium offers, which might be like some sort of like long-term mastermind or something like that, which you're charging like a $2,000 for, something like that. My point is that just remember that your core offer is you want to sell a lot of them. This is the main way you make money. So you don't want to bottleneck. That's why we say productized services. Everything that's not a productized service, what I mean by that is a productized service is you are doing the work or somebody's doing the work, but the system is built. Like pool cleaners are great at productized services. Landscapers, it's like I come, I mow, I edge. This is how much it costs. I come 3 times a week. So I can do a bunch of properties because we're not doing custom stuff on every property. But then a landscaper has to do a custom job, right? So it's gonna be a tier 5. It's like I'm coming, I'm doing blueprint or schematics or whatever. I used to work for a landscaper when I just got married, and he would go and draw their property and draw trees and their paver stones. That is not a productized service. That's bespoke. That's custom. This is like, I'm pool cleaner. I come, I do my test, I throw my shock in or whatever. I come every week. I know what to. I'm doing the same thing for every pool, but it's a service. It's not a digital product, right? How would a pool cleaner do a digital product? How would a landscaper do a digital product? It's easy. You can sell. Here's my course on how to make your house look amazing curb appeal, or here's the best way to source the cheapest products to do your own pool. Here's my methodology. Trust me, you can do that. Same thing with like any type of company that is essentially there's a part of the market that wants to do it themselves, and you can, again, that might be an emerging audience for you, right? Another thing too, obviously, is physical products. So sell the supplies, right? If you're a pool cleaner, sell the supplies. Okay. If you are a landscaper, I'm just using them as an example, sell the supplies, sell the equipment. There's like tons of ways that once you get people into this system, you can monetize them with different offers within the core offer. Okay. Think about it. We sell the software that we build on. We sell the software. It's like we're doing the same thing. It happens to be a SaaS product, so we get the monthly recurring revenue, but it's just anybody can do it. You can do an affiliate offer. You can build a full business, do a lead magnet, and push them to somebody else's product, and just get your affiliate link in there, and you get paid by their company. So just note that this system works, okay? And like I said, tier 5 is your high ticket solutions. These are things that don't scale. These are things that are high touch, and the reason these work up here, because as people go through your system, they're trusting you, they believe in you, they understand your culture as a company, and you have some really great customers that come up here that aren't just complaining about everything, and they understand the value. When you charge them $2,500 or $10,000, they're like, man, I went through their lead magnet that helped me. I remember when I was stuck there, I watched their YouTube videos, I was stuck there. Their social media content, I still get that social media content. So I'm going to drop $10,000 on this company. So, so that is kind of, and this is like kind of telling you to just check this page out. It's on our website, giantmaker.com. So anyway, so the ascending value model. So if I go back to this now, it'll make sense. In a 5-pillar business blueprint, under audience, the ascending value model is that it's your solution, it's your content, it's your support content, it's your lead magnets, it's your offers for growth. So these are productized services. This is for scale. This is digital products. You could come up with physical products. You could come up with a hybrid. It's your high ticket stuff. And you don't have to do all these. You might, again, choose one. The thing about the ascending value model that I tell people, okay, is you might come up with your discovery content. So you say, I want to do all of these. Bam, start today. Okay. Then as you're making this, you say, you know what, next month, I'm going to make 3 YouTube videos. Do that. Pick one of these. Do three YouTube videos. Okay. Then the next month, you say, I'm going to launch 1 lead magnet. Bam. Pick a lead magnet you think is going to be amazing. Obviously, these are specifically for my business idea that I put in. Yours is going to be more geared towards what you're doing. You don't even need a core offer. Just do a lead magnet and then send them, just do an email newsletter and just bless these people with your knowledge while you develop your core offer. In 90 days, you would have been doing 90 days worth of content. The second month, you would have had your YouTube videos up. So your YouTube videos would have been up for 2 months, right? And then I'm talking about at the end of 90 days. And then you would have launched your lead magnet to an audience. There's people who watch your YouTube videos, or there's people that watch this. And then you would have you've launched a business. Now you got people doing your lead magnet. You're getting emails. Now you're developing an offer for these people. And now when you launch it, you get sales the first day you launch because you built. This is something that we didn't do and we should have done. And this is what we teach now because it works. Rather than building all this stuff and then going back and then starting to make content, which literally is what we did. And it's hell, okay? Because you don't get any traction and you feel like you built this thing, it's just sitting there. It's like an empty building just sitting there. Like, it's a metaphor, but it's just like, oh, we built all this stuff, right? So just wanted to hit you with that. So now we're going to get into kind of like, we're not almost done, but we are almost done, okay? So let me go back to, actually, I think I'm on the iPad now, okay? So let's get into the digital marketing system thing, and we're going to go back and forth on a couple of things. So let's get back to the iPad, okay? So now that you understand all that goes into this, it's like, what are we building, okay? So let's kind of look at this over here, okay? Let me get a color that stands out. Let's get this red. So we have content, okay? So that we have content, right? This is our tier 1 on the AVM, tier 1, right? And we have short form content and we have support content, right? So obviously we need to build a content rhythm. We need to start doing content. We need to choose what platforms we're going to use. I suggest choosing one. And depending on what you're doing, that one might already have your audience more situated on it. So it's important to do the research. But you need to choose at least one social media platform. And I'll give you some other tips on this because our software, if I go to, I know you can't see my screen, I'll show you in a second. Our software has a social media scheduler, okay? And you can schedule content through our software to just about every platform, okay? Every platform. So which is going to help you because you can also do something called upcycle. So you take your content and you give it a upcycle kind of schedule, and it'll repost it so you make content, it's reposting your older content. People are not going to care by seeing the same content twice. Honestly, you need people to see your content so much anyway that like I've had business owners say, well, they're going to see my content and they're going to see the same content. I was like, well, you got to make new content, but you could take a break. You could make content, put it out, let it keep going. If the problem, I mean, if that problem were solved, right? If people saw your content and was like, oh, I've seen this already, then people wouldn't have a social media problem. I mean, like the business owners, like we wouldn't have a problem with people seeing our content and seeing low engagement. Like we would be like, oh, people are really, they're like memorizing our content. They're like, I saw this last week. That's not the case. They're not thinking about you like that. You need to just be in their feed all the time. And yes, people can see the content over and over again. How do you think commercials work? So let's you be wise as entrepreneurs, okay? So we need our content rhythm. This is our distribution, right? We need that, and we need to be having our system for creating almost daily social media content and starting to build out our evergreen support content, right? I suggest YouTube because YouTube is also a discovery platform, meaning that it's owned by Google. It's a search engine. So when people search things, it shows up, and your videos are answers to people's questions. They're evergreen answers to people's questions. And it gives you the ability to show that you understand something, that this is your domain. You can speak intelligently. You don't have to be this PhD person, right? It's based off your brand, unless that's your brand is PhD type stuff, right? But like me, I'm so rough around the edges. Like, I don't think you guys realize I am so rough around the edges. This is my style. This is who I am. You either like me or you don't. And you put it out there, and you let the algorithms and all your stuff just find the people and bring them in, and then you make little tests. So when we say, what are we building? We're building our social media strategy, and all the stuff is on the site, essentially how to do it, and we're doing it almost daily because all we want to do is be discovered and help solve small problems for people, okay? And then we want our evergreen, our evergreen support content that people are going to go to, and they're going to be like, oh, this guy just solved my problem, or this lady just solved my problem. I'm having this problem for so long. I'm so glad I watched this YouTube video, but you're still not done working, okay? Because the call to action, okay, your call to action is either, let's just try to follow this, okay? So you'll see that there's a line here. So sometimes, this is going to be a mess, guys. This is going to be a mess. So obviously sometimes you're mentioning your support content, right? And sometimes, or you're mentioning both, and sometimes you're mentioning a funnel, okay? And this just represents that there's a different, let's go purple. There's a different funnel for each lead magnet. And we're going to go through this in a second, okay? I'm going to show you our assessment funnel. So we're basically saying, like, look, we brought you in through tier 1, okay? This is tier 2, right? And then this is going to be tier 3. If I go back, tier 3 is lead magnet. So I'm going to get them into one of my lead magnets so I can build a relationship with them, right? So we're going to switch gears. We're going to pause. I want to show you, because we already said we got to build content. So pick your platform, start to put content out. Step 1, that's what you're building. Step 2 is think about what are those questions people are going to ask that is going to lead to a lead magnet, right? They're going to give me their email because I'm going to make this video like I'm doing right now. It doesn't have to be this long. I'm going to make this video. They're going to watch it. I'm going to talk about this one thing. And I'm going to get them to go into the one thing. Okay. I'm going to show you our one thing for you. Okay. So let's go to our website. So let's go ahead and switch of the gears. Yep. Okay. I'm back on my website. So we have something. So if I go to products, readiness assessment, we have something called, it's a readiness assessment. It's zoomed in so much, but it's okay. So it's free. And basically what we're saying is, are your employees ready to quit? Or are you trying to build a side hustle? Okay. And we're basically saying, look, you got to know where you are. Okay. You're trying to get somewhere, but you don't even know where you are. You don't know if you're ready. And quitting a job or going into entrepreneurship is easier than you think, but it's important to know a couple of things. Okay. And you click on this, you already start the assessment. So I think there's like 33 questions. It used to be 20. We added more. We might get rid of some because we're testing. We're doing experiments. But it's like, how clear are you on, why you want to start and grow a business? I'm not clear. I'm very clear. Whatever. Okay. So you're gonna click on these. You're gonna go through. You're gonna give us your email at the end. That's where we're gonna send you you're gonna get your results. So you give us your email. A page is gonna pop up with your results, and we're gonna give you like an assessment. We're gonna say, hey man, here's where you are. Here's what you need to do. And then you're going to get a series of emails. Okay. And there's a landing page it's going to take you to. And we're trying to get you into our accelerator program. Okay. And we're going to give you the price. So if you go through the assessment, you're going to get the price, and you're going to look at the price. You're going to be like, this is the same price as Go High Level. Okay. This is the same price as Go High Level. I get so much more than just software. Anyway. So my point is that this is our funnel. Okay, I'm going to show you one other thing, okay? So we have something called, also too, we have light and dark mode on our site. So if you go to our site, there's light and dark mode. I prefer dark mode, but I'm getting feedback that dark mode sometimes is hard to read. But I'm going to do dark mode on this next one. So we have something called Assessment Funnel Calculator. And it's because one of the things that we try to help people is like things that work for us, we want to work for other people. So one of the funnels you can run is an assessment funnel. And I'm just going to explain it to you because, again, this might be a part of what you can build, but you'll understand funnels, okay? So basically, this is like our assessment funnel revenue calculator. And we're going to try to build a calculator for some of the most popular funnels. But the way it works is, so people come into the assessment, right? So you just saw, you can enter into the assessment, okay? So how many people are going to do that, okay? So let's just say, we're going to try to get like 1,000 people a month to take our assessment. It's free. We're running ads to it. We're doing YouTube videos about it. We're doing social media content about it. Okay. So we think we can get 1,000 people, or that's our goal. Okay. So then it's a results page. So the result, excuse me. The results page is when you take the assessment, we give you your results. If people never get there, then they won't click on the button, which is totally fine, okay? So let's just say, I'm going to say 75% of the people that go through the assessment are probably at least going to see the results page, okay? And again, these are assumptions we're trying to test. Okay, the next click-through step. This is where we're pitching them the next steps. And there's a landing page, okay? So let's just say, I'm just keep it at 40% just for the sake of this. You can mess around with this. So then we have offer conversion rates. And based off the reason an assessment funnel is so amazing, and with the software, because that assessment's done through the Giant Maker operating system / Go High Level, is you could send people different emails and you can give them different offers or put them through different nurture sequences, which are essentially emails that are trying to get them to the next step. You can do that through, it can be automated based off the way they answer questions. Okay. So we have a low ticket offer, and let me go down to the offer prices. So let's just say we have a low ticket offer for $47. I'm just gonna say 27. We have some sort of like course you could take. Okay. We have a course you can take. Let's just say $297 is like a call. You can jump on a call with us. We'll charge you. It's an hour call, and we charge you $297. And then we have like a high ticket thing, which is like something else. I don't know. Doesn't matter. You just have low ticket, mid ticket, and high ticket. You have these products. Might be digital product, physical product. Doesn't matter. Okay. So then, how many people are gonna basically you're going to convert that are going to buy your low ticket, high ticket, or mid ticket and high ticket. I'm going to leave these as 5%. Now I'm going to do 10% for this because it's cheap. Okay. And then mid ticket, 3% is good. 1% is good for this. And then I'm actually going to go to like 0.5%. Okay. Then nurture sequence. How many people are going to convert on our nurture sequence? So this is the emails where we're going to still try to sell them, like even later on. So I'm going to say we'll get 10%. So then what it does is it gives you how much money you can make monthly. So you can make $75,000 a month. You can make $1 million a year if you can actually get these numbers. Okay. So these numbers up here are really high. Okay, so these are just ridiculous. Probably should go down. But then that means you have to increase this. So you have to really get good at content and ads. So these numbers can go down. Is in you'll see how like you can kind of go down a lot because these might be realistic numbers. You're gonna have to play with the price then. So now it's like, well, I gotta charge 37 for this now. And it changes the numbers, and I gotta charge, $4.97, and then I gotta charge $2.97. Okay, and then you're starting to tweak these. All this is meant to do is just give you an idea of like this is how funnels work, and your funnel is steps, and in each step is a thing that does a thing that you're trying to get them through, and then basically you can see how much money you can make. And all this is obviously just a ballpark. It's a way to just kind of plan and see and get excited about, hey, I can really make some money with this if I could hit these numbers. And then you have something to do. So the reason I'm showing you this is if we go back to the iPad, you'll see that that's all I'm talking about is you're sending them from your content to a funnel, to which I'm pointing over here. You can't even see this. You can't even see. To a funnel. This is a funnel. This is the assessment funnel. We even have like, if I go back actually and go to products and readiness assessment, like we're sending them to this page. Okay. And you know what I mean? So that is kind of what I mean by sending them to a place and why we do the ascending value model. Okay. So back to the iPad. All right. So all we're basically saying is that you might have multiple funnels, right, that are lead magnet funnels. And we suggest sending people to your lead magnet funnels. And then this confirmation page is obviously like one they take. For ours, we call it the results page. If it's a product that they purchase, it's a thank you page. If they sign up for a newsletter, it's like they call it a confirmation page. It's a page that redirects them. Oh, that's not a good color to do. Red on red. It redirects them to a new thing, so you can put a new thing in front of them. And what we do is we put the next steps in front of them and say, hey, click this. Thanks for taking the assessment. Here's your results. Click this to see the next steps, and it takes you to another page that you'll see if you go through our assessment that tells you about our accelerator program and how much it costs and all that. And then also at the same time, you're going to get emails from us over the next couple of days, weeks, months, or whatever. And at this point, we sent you to a product, right? So we're sending you to the accelerator. Also, it could be any of these other things, a webinar, right? VSL, video sales letter. You might need more information, which honestly on our page, we actually do send you here. We send you to the product, but there is a video sales letter, so this is more accurate. You might just get dumped into our newsletter, we'll put you into our community, or we might just send you more content. So this is like one of those things where it just really depends on what the next step is. So right here, and let me just make sure I'm getting all the tiers. So this is tier 4. Tier 5 is not even here yet because we haven't even sold you nothing yet. Okay. But that might happen through emails in general in the future. So you didn't purchase anything, but you're still on our email list. So now we're just kind of sharing different things with our community on our emails, and we know who's who because we know what you purchased and when you didn't because we're using the Giant Maker operating system software. So the best way to explain this is what you're building: a content distribution system that sends them through to a funnel that is a lead magnet funnel. That's any lead magnet that's going to be free. They're going to give you their email as currency. That's how they're going to get in. And you're going to solve a quick problem for them. We like the assessment funnel. And then you're going to send them emails, a nurture sequence of emails, pushing them to your tier 4 product, which is going to be one of your core products. And if you get fancy, you're going to have in your core products, you're going to have a low ticket, mid ticket, and a high ticket. And might be high ticket, might be tier 5, or your high ticket might be a productized service in tier 4, if that makes sense. And then once they purchase, you're going to have a way to fulfill, okay? So fulfill or onboard. So if it's a t-shirt, you're going to ship it to them. If it's a digital product, you're going to give them access and get them started through some sort of way. If it's a high ticket or mid ticket or something where you're doing something in person, you're going to jump on a Zoom call. You're going to send them an email saying, here's how we're going to get started. Here's a booking calendar or whatever. And then once that's all done, you're going to have an automatic system that asks for a review or testimonial. So you're always getting reviews and testimonials automatically. Okay. So this is just this part. Okay. So that's what you're building. Okay. Now, say you want to add a website on top of it. Okay. Well, you see how you can do this without a website? A lead magnet funnel. If I go back to my, let me go back to the computer. Technically, this is a website. Excuse me. But I can send them directly here from my social media. This is just a page that when you build your funnel, your assessment, this is just a page that this is like the assessment like directly. Like it's not even on a website. It's like, look how janky it looks. I can send people directly here. And all my videos are talking about it, my YouTube videos talking about it, and people just go here and they get started. Like, I don't even need a website. And it's because my content, because they're hearing my voice and they're hearing me talk about it, they're like, let me just do this funnel. And it works on a phone. So it doesn't matter if they're on a computer or a desktop. I mean, a mobile device. So we overcomplicate things, okay? But say we do want a website, all right? Well, websites do help, but they help for a different reason. And also, too, you can create a landing page to that funnel, and that's all you have. So let's go back to the computer again. So you can just have just this page. No website, but just this page. You just have one page. That's it. One page that links to the funnel. That's it. The only thing you could do if you go to our website is do the assessment. That's it. But, you know, I'm just trying to show you that it's not that. You don't have to like overthink this. So a funnel is a contained system. And actually, let me switch gears to that really quick. Let's go to this while I switch because I don't want you seeing on my iPad because it's so messy. Okay, it's crazy. All right, so let's go back to the iPeasy. All right, so marketing funnel. Okay, so basically we're just showing it in different ways. Okay, so you have people. This is called top of funnel, right? So this is content, right? This is also content, but they're still not, they're like going down. And then we'll get into the messy middle in a second, and then you have bottom of funnel, which is lead magnet in this case. And then this is the customer journey we're gonna go through in a second. It just show you how it's all aligned, okay? So a funnel is you have like an opt-in page, okay? This can also be like this is like if you were gonna give them your email, but you might want to send people here, or sometimes you have a landing page, so a landing page that sends them to here, and then once they sign up or go through whatever the process is to be a part of your lead magnet. Then you're sending them to a thank you page, which is going to automatically redirect. And then you're sending them emails, right? And you're trying to send them to the sales page of the next product, right? And then they order, they pay, or whatever. Okay, so that's essentially what we're doing. Now you could do it, right? And this is what it looks like down here. But now you can make funnels moving people into other funnels, right? So you funnel stack. So you're moving people as you build different funnels. You're like moving them here. And again, funnel doesn't mean free. It's not just lead magnet, which is a lead magnet funnel. But a funnel could be a paid service. It could be a digital product, a physical product. It could be a bundle. It could be all these different things. So just wanted to like clarify that. So yeah, now that it makes sense. And we're going to get to the customer journey, and then we're going to kind of wrap. But the customer journey is important to see how this works. So that's what I mean by funnel, just to make it clear. Okay. So we want to add a website. Okay. So let's go over here. So a website is like really more of a credibility tool. Okay. People, depending on what you offer, people can be like, hey man, if you had a website, it'd probably be better. That's what they're thinking. So a website is, you want to just make sure you have your case studies, testimonials, about, and when I mean about, I mean just like your story. People like to know who they're doing business with. It used to not be like that, but people want to trust you, and if you can show them your story, it makes more sense. And then you want epiphany content. And what this really is if you go to our website, we have all those frameworks, and which are kind of like our blogs. Like we have things on our website that are help. We have the assessment funnel calculator I just showed you. That's all on our website. But it could be your YouTube videos. So the videos that are on YouTube, you're putting them on your website. Your blog articles and things like that. Just content that triggers an epiphany in somebody's mind to be like, oh, I get it. And because you trigger their epiphany, you have them. Now here's the thing about a website. If we follow these, people could just get to your website, and I want to delete some of this stuff just to clear it out, because it's going to get crazy. We've already discussed like this route down here. If you notice, on content, just go to red content, you're still sending people to your website. Okay. This is the same thing. Just this is and how? Well, on your YouTube videos, all your descriptions, you have a link to your website. People might click on it. On your, and we'll talk about microsite right now. On Instagram and certain platforms that are really for mobile, you have a link in bio or a link tree, right? We call it a microsite because it's like meant just to send people different places. You might send them to your funnel. You might send them to your YouTube channel. And then one of your links might be to your website. So people can get to your website from your social media. You just may not be promoting and telling people as a call to action to do it in your content. But they can do it. And the people who want websites, you want it there for them. Okay. And again, it depends on your business, depends on your prices, it depends on what you sell. You could put a lot more stuff on your website, and people like to do research. And I'll show you during the customer journey what that looks like. So now what we've done is we're building something that's just staying there. We're like basically like building something that's just like ready for any type of scenario. That's what we're really doing. Okay, you don't know what path these people are going to go down. Okay, so that's why we're showing it like this. Okay, so now we talked about your website. Okay, and your website could be super simple, because really at the end of the day, you need a home page that just connects to everything, right? So on your home page, a lot of people do like a one pager. So on your home page, I'll just try to draw it roughly. Okay, so you have like a home page, and think of your home page as a way to direct traffic. Okay, so it's like when you go to the mall and it's like you're here. Okay, Here's all the places you can go. So you're gonna have at the top of the hero, it's like, what do you do? Okay. So we'll just use our website as an example. If I go home, it says build your business, face your Goliath, your fears, and we're trying to play on emotions and stuff like that. And it's like, we help DIY entrepreneurs go from zero to paid with practical education, a builder community, AI powered tools, and all-in-one marketing software that keeps everything simple. And it's like our assessment, accelerator, and Giant operating system. That's and then if you go down, we say the same message again, just a different way. We have pictures of people that look like entrepreneurs, and then we talk about who we help: employees ready to quit, side hustlers, struggling solo entrepreneurs, and then choose the path to success. And then we go to every one of our things we offer. So here's like educational stuff. Here's our accelerator, Giant operating system, and then our final call to action, and that's it. Okay, very simple. That's all it is on our homepage. Okay, so we want to send people to different places. That's all we're trying to do. We want them to know where they are. We want them to orient themselves and know where they're going. Everything else is a funnel for the most part, other than like contact us and our resources. Those are self-explanatory though. Like, like a resource, but you should have. Okay, look, let's go back. Let's go back. If I go to any of these frameworks, go down to the bottom, take the assessment. Let's go to another framework. Let's go to skateboard method. Take the assessment. Even our support content or our help content, our authority content is pointing you to a funnel. Excuse me. And that's what you see here. You go to our website. Our website is taking you to a funnel, and it's taking you to our assessment funnel. So all roads lead to lead magnets, okay? So if I go down here, everything else is a funnel, like I said. So you click on the assessment, it's going to take you to a landing page, or it's actually called a sales page. I'll explain the difference. I always mess it up myself, sales page. And that's because it's a part of your website. Then it's basically an opt-in page or the assessment itself, and then there is a confirmation, right, or a thank you page, right? So that's what this is, okay? And then you're going to get emails, right, once you take the assessment. But that's for everything. Every one of those things takes you to the product page or the offer page or whatever the product or service is. It takes you to the page, and then there's a call to action of how to get into that thing. Sometimes it's a funnel, sometimes it's clicking you to something else, but there is a single call to action. So that's what your website is. It's a home page that they land on. It's who are you, and then it's how to get to the different things that you offer and who you help and all that. And all you want people to do is orient themselves. You don't want them to be lost. You want them to know that they're in the right place and they're the right person for what you have. And the way you do that is by understanding obviously the business blueprint, and you speak to those people. So let me erase all that. So that's what your website is. And like I said, this is just a link tree. Microsite is just a link tree. It doesn't have to be a link tree. It can actually be the Giant Maker operating system / go high level. You can make your own link trees in there. I'm just saying link tree is actually a product that people are used to, but it's just a microsite. Okay. So now what we've done is this is like the main thing that happens, right? This was all the magic happens. So paid ads are you're sending people to short form content, and you might be sending people to your funnels from paid ads. But this system is already built because you built it. Okay. Outreach. So you're doing all the reaching out. So you're cold emailing people, cold DMs. You're just prospecting, and guess what? They're either going to your website or you're sending them to your funnels. My whole point is everything is leading to this nucleus right here. And all these purple things are kind of like important moments, I guess, is what they are. So this is kind of like what you're kind of building from a digital marketing standpoint. And the way you get people in is through traffic, obviously, at the top. Okay, so let's go down here and look at this one, because you see that's DM automation. So this is like a more scaled down version, right? So this is like, hey, I'm strictly going to be content. I'm just starting off. So content, and let me use a different color. Let's use red. I'm doing content. I pick one platform. So I'm not even going to do support content right now. I'm just starting off. I want to get my feet off I want to just get some traction. I want to do some experiments. The people like my message. Okay, so you create content. Bam. DM automations is amazing. Okay, so currently you can do DM automations with Instagram. You can do DM automations with Facebook, and that's because these are meta companies, right? Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. And then now, just as recently, you could do DM automations with TikTok, which is crazy. Let me explain to you what DM automations are if you don't know what they are, okay? So people don't want to leave social media sometimes when they're scrolling. And they're going to see your content, and your call to action might be to go to this place and check this thing out and get this resource or take this test or whatever, right? And you might have to just put stuff in front of them a lot of times for them to finally do it. But there's this cool thing where you could, the way people are using it is you ask someone to comment a certain phrase. So I may have content and I'm saying, hey, just comment quit or DM me quit, and I'll send you this free resource to your DMs. And what happens is they'll comment the word quit, right? And then this automation takes over, and it will send them a sequence of messages, and it can be links, and it can be YouTube videos. It could be a link to an opt-in. And again, because they're clicking it from the DMs of Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, it is opening up in the browser of TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. And they're putting in their information, and they hit submit, and then guess what happens? They go right back into Instagram. They never left Instagram. And the communication is happening through the DMs, but it's automatically happening. Meaning that you can send 1,000 people through this thing and the automation will take over. Well, how do you do it? There's a ton of different companies that do it, but guess what? The Giant Maker OS/High Level does it. This is why we promote the software, because what we're doing is when we have a system that automatically will repost our content, and that content is really good, and it's asking people to DM things, we have an unlimited marketing tool that is putting this thing in front of people at top of mind. And then we have a system that when they DM us these words, it's delivering the value and building a relationship. And they never left Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, which is where they want to be anyway. And now you're able to send them things into their email and nurture them, and they never even came to your website or anything. You're sending them to like very basic landing pages that is happening within the app, the Instagram app, or the Facebook app, or the TikTok app. They're not going into your world fully, right? And guess what? Those platforms promote your content when you keep people on the platform. And this is what we call like algorithm-friendly marketing, okay? So just wanted to let you know that that's what the DM automations are. So your content is asking people to comment certain words or DM you certain words. And you can even do this with paid. So we ran a campaign where we did a paid ad to pieces of our content. And the content, the call to action was message me. And we had all the phrases, and people would do it. And then based off what they would message, it would automatically send them the right information. And we got some sales. It was cool. It's great. It works. So now what you're doing is you're doing content. You have ads that are running. Some people don't have the luxury of spending money on ads. Totally fine. Do content. Some of you do both. Some of you don't really want to do a lot of content. You want to focus more on ads. Guess what? You still can do that. And then you can outreach people and DM them. And then when they DM you certain words back, it will give them the certain information. So you can be proactive. And guess what? You have just a microsite, right? That's getting people into your funnel. You don't have a website. And same thing over here. It's like they're not even going to your website. So my point is that And then this is just, all this is like the same, basically. One lead magnet. And then eventually you have a product. Maybe you have a product. But all this is done essentially through social media. Really no website. You might have, again, pages or different ways for them to get into your funnel. But you're not building this big website and all this stuff like we did. Okay? This is happening now. People are doing this. Okay? Let's go down to another one. They're kind of all similar. This one is one where you get all this, but you don't even have a product. And what you're doing is you have a lead magnet because you want to get that quick win. So you want them to realize that you help them win, and then you just dump them into a newsletter and you just send out a weekly or monthly newsletter. I don't even have a product yet. I just want to build my email list while I'm working on my product. I don't even know exactly what my product is going to be, but I know my lead magnet is going to be this 10 things to 10 check, I don't know, 10 item checklist before you do X, right? So you have like some really simple thing that you're giving away for free, and all you're trying to do is just get emails, and then you're just basically putting people into your email newsletter, and then you're just building a relationship manually. It's not even automated. You're like putting effort into every newsletter. Totally fine. Then eventually it says product offers coming soon. So eventually you build a product. This is something that can be built, and you may not even do no outreach or anything. Obviously, you would just have a microsite because you would just want people who just went to your profile and they can get into this funnel. And technically, the newsletter is a funnel too, so they could just opt directly into your newsletter without going through that. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, this is a very simple thing that you can launch in 90 days and still, before the end of the year, make a lot of money because you're building an audience. You're building trust. Okay, this last one, I can't remember what this one was. I think this one was just this one, but I cleaned it up. Okay, so that last one doesn't really kind of matter. It was this one cleaned up. So all I'm showing you is that if you understand the AVM and the 5-pillar business blueprint, all the other elements, then you understand that, like, oh, I'm just building these different rhythms, these different systems that send people into other systems, and I could have a website, or I don't need a website. So let's get into. We're wrapping up. Let's get into last piece I want to show you is the customer journey, and I think this is the piece that's gonna kind of bring it all together. And we're gonna kind of go through this quick. So the customer journey, okay? So the customer journey outlines the stages a person goes through from identifying a need to becoming a loyal customer. Each phase, from awareness to loyalty, is an opportunity to guide decisions, reduce friction, and build trust through value-driven experiences. So this is a crazy graphic that shows the different stages. So need, they become aware of you, they're orienting themselves, they're considering you or other people, they have to make a decision, they purchase, you deliver the value to them, and then you retain them because you did a great job, and then they use the product, so then they become loyal, and then so on. So that's the journey, okay? And what you'll notice is that we've kind of plotted out some hypothetical things that why you need all those elements, right? So how do people become aware of you? Well, you have your organic social media, and you'll notice there's a little robot in there, and that means that the software, you can do this, or the software can help you with this. So we've even pinpointed where the software can help you. So we have an ads manager in the software. So when you use a Giant Maker operating system / Go High Level, you get access to an ads manager where you can run all your Facebook ads, your Google ads, your LinkedIn ads, from one platform, okay? Also social media. Like I said, there's a scheduler in there, okay? So, but you need this, and then you get word of mouth, obviously. So this is how the people become aware, and it keeps happening. And then this right here, attention, this is basically a result of your efforts, okay? So once you do this right, you start getting people's attention. Great. Let's actually make that green, because that's going to equal money at some point. So like on the money, okay? Now, if we go back up, you have ads where you're retargeting these people. So, this is a little bit sophisticated, but people who are interacting with your social media, you might want to put ads in front of them. And there's a way to say, only show these ads to people who've interacted with my profile. Okay? Because you're trying to push them further down, right? This decision. Okay? And then you get rewarded because you're doing this right with traffic. So if we go to that thing of what to build and you're sending people traffic to your funnels and to your all this stuff, well, you're starting to send people places. Like people are clicking on your calls to actions, right? And then so what happens is that they might go to your landing page or the sales pages or your funnels. They might see your reviews, right? Which is again, think about what people are doing. They became aware of you. They're orienting themselves in a world of the solutions, right? The competitors, like who am I going to choose to solve my problem? They're figuring it out. Traffic is they're going to different people's websites to research. And what you do is in order to get considered, you want them to either go through your lead magnet so you can get them a quick win. You want them to see reviews so that they can say, oh, this person has some great reviews. So all that information, that's kind of what's, and this is just hypothetical. Okay. Then they're still considering. So because they took your lead magnet, you're sending them nurture emails. Maybe the other competitor didn't do that, or their lead magnet wasn't as good. So now while they're making a decision, they're getting your emails, right? Like we think people make a decision right away. They don't. Okay. And then they go back to your website and then they do a content deep dive, which is actually, that's on the money. Then they're seeing your social media. You're constantly posting social media and you're pushing them towards a decision, and then they convert and they purchase. Okay. And the purchase happens up this kind of like call, this thing up here, right? So I'm just saying, and then we get trust at some point. Okay. We get trust and then they purchase. Okay. And then just again, I'm not going to go through everything, but there's this whole thing that they go through. Okay. So 2 things I want to talk about. We're going to talk about the messy middle in a second, but I also want to talk about the 5 systems every business needs in order to compete. Okay. So there's 5 systems. So system number 1 is reach and retarget. So when we think about reach and retarget, we're thinking about how are you reaching people? This is your distribution. And how are you going to stay in front of people that you've already reached? Okay. It's very important to realize that it's easier as you're moving people down this like journey, you don't want them to get to this step and then you lose them because you've already put in that work. So you want to continue to be in front of these people. Okay. So we're thinking about like automations. We're thinking about anything that you could do manual. So a manual system. Hey, every Wednesday I send out a newsletter for all the people that sign up for my newsletter. And every Thursday I do a live on YouTube. It's like, it doesn't matter what you do. It can be automated. It can be a hybrid, or it can be a mixture of both. Okay. So you want to list, how am I going to reach people and how do I turn it into a consistent system that I do? How do I make it a rhythm of my life? Okay. Then you want a sales and conversion system. Okay. So like chatbots are a automated system that helps convert and sell people. Nurture sequences, certain content on your website, certain content you put out on social media technically does push people over. Okay. So you want that. And it could be sales calls. It could be all these different things. And you have a calendar people can book it. You have a webinar you do every month, right? It's considered sales and conversion. Okay. Then you have onboarding and fulfillment. So this is like giving people what they paid for and getting them into success with whatever the product, service, digital product, physical product, productized service, bespoke, high ticket, doesn't matter. You have to provide the value that they paid for. And then reputation and brand management. The easiest one I think of is just automatically asking for reviews, asking for referrals, right? Automatically at some point, okay? Because you need those for the future. And if you have a system that automatically asks for them, it makes it easier. And then you have retain and resell. Retain and resell. This is basically based off the model, it's easier to sell to somebody that you've already sold to before. It's cheaper. It's easier, right? So you don't want to just sell to people and then lose them. You want to retain people. So what do? I send out a special newsletter to all my VIP people that pay for products. We give out discounts where when we launch things, we give them a special discount, early bird discount. Like whatever you could do to retain people and resell people, those are the 5 systems, okay? So let's go down through the messy middle. Okay, so this is some research Google did, and we're not going to get into like there's all this stuff down here where we talk about like the 6 triggers. We're not going to get into that. That's in our course. You can get that in our course. We're just going to talk about this right here. Okay, so the messy middle is a non-linear, often confusing part of the buying journey where people loop between researching and comparing options because people don't want to make a bad decision and they don't want to give their money to you if you don't deserve it. Okay. So clarity, relevance, and differentiation are critical of helping customer. Differentiation is another word for branding and novelty. Okay, so being novel. And here's the thing about that: you don't have to be the best; you just got to be different. Okay, and there's a book called The Purple Cow where it talks about these traveling sales by Seth Godin. By the way, these traveling salesmen that are traveling across the most boring part of America, which is Iowa. Okay, I've done the trip. Just cornfields, cows, cornfields, cows. Okay, and they just see all these cows, just brown cows, black cows, white cows, spotted cows, and then they see a purple cow, and they see all these cars, and they pull over, and they're taking pictures with the purple cow. And guess what? It's a cow. Cows are boring, but it's purple. It's different. Doesn't even matter if it's the best. It's just new. It's different. It's fresh. That goes a long way. Okay, that doesn't mean make crap. Just make it different. It just means that you don't have to be the best, okay? So are critical to helping customers break out of the loop and move toward a confident purchase decision. So what happens is they loop in between comparing options and researching. So comparing is going to delete. Researching is adding. So it's like they keep on like going over here and saying, okay, I could compare these 3. Oh, these ones are bad. And they're going to go do more research and add more, right? And this is happening every time they're making a decision on if they're going to purchase from you, okay? So we want to have clarity and alignment. So this is this right here. This is this orientation consideration phase. This is where the messy middle is on this, okay? This is why we have evergreen YouTube videos, podcasts. This is why we have nurture sequences. This is why we push people into our lead magnets so we can get them a quick win easier. This is why social media is meant to transform and transport and transmit. I felt like a preacher. I had to do a third T word, but people want their problem solved, and all you're focused on is showing them you can solve their problems at different levels through your ascending value model. This is why you're going to win most of these messy middles. You're going to be the clear option. It's going to make it easier. You're not going to be able to compare you. It's going to be apples to oranges. Okay? So that's pretty much it with this lesson. I know it was a lot. I hope this is all recorded because I'm recording using OBS to my computer. And if it didn't record, I'm going crazy. But I just want to invite you to take the readiness assessment. Okay? It's just that simple. All right? The link's going to be in the description. I'm going to send you right to I'm going to put 2 links. I'm going to put the website, giantmaker.com, okay? Then I'm going to put the readiness assessment, but I'm going to put the actual, like not even this page. I'm sending you right here to get you right up in there, okay? But you can just explore our website. We have, if you want to check out the software, if you want to see our Building a Giant accelerator, okay, we break down like what we teach, and obviously we teach everything I talked about just deeper. But this is kind of like our MVP of our landing page for the accelerator. You can only see the accelerator pricing after you take the readiness assessment. So everything goes through the readiness assessment. I will say this, the price, I'm just going to go help you out because I think a lot of people are thinking about price. If I go to the Giant Maker operating system and I go down, and I would explore what the software can do, because a lot of what's going to make you successful is that the software can do a lot. and this is what we teach. So let's go down to the pricing. If I go to Go High Level and I go to their pricing, you see their pricing, $97. You see that? I'll put it like this. We're not more expensive than that. Okay? We just can't tell you it's just there's certain agreements where we can't do certain things. We're not more expensive than $97. That's all I can say. And you get the software. So you get this software, all right? But you also get everything. You get the blueprint maker, you get idea generator, you get the community, so you get access to us. You get all our courses. We go deeper on all this stuff. Continued courses for the price that people are paying just for the software. And the reason we do this, there's a reason behind this, is we launched with selling the software directly. And we've had people sign up for the software, okay? And they don't know what to do. They don't know what to build. They don't know where to start. And all we were doing was tech support. And like we were like, man, people, we need to change what our company is, and we need to create the frameworks and education. But don't get it twisted. Our goal is to get you to build your empire on the software so you can make the money that you need to make. That is the end goal, is building something using the software. And automation and technology is the future. So that's what we're about. We want to help you get where you want to go in 90 days. If you want to be active in the community, that's great. If you just want to like use the resources and just kind of tap in with us and kind of be like a person in the back of the classroom, that's also great. It's just we just are building we're building like a tribe, honestly. And we don't want anybody who's just not trying to be a part of like a tribe. You don't have to be actively communicating with people, but we just want to build a culture of giant makers. So check in the description, check out our website, and I hope that we see you again in some capacity. So yeah, peace.